All right, so here we go again. Hey, how you doing? This is SEIJIHITO here to bring you another live stream. So as you can clearly see by the title of the video, we're going to be dealing with the quote unquote immigration problem that is taking place in the United States. That's the hugest topic that's going on at this moment in time. And we're going to hear from some other folks directly out there that have dealt with immigration in their areas or their lands and their specific feelings about these things, right? So, without further ado, we're going to take a look at this angry man that's directly on the front screen and hear what he has to state. What is up, Mahoko? And what is up, Way? What is up, Bushido? What is up? What is up? What is up? And good morning to everybody as well.
A shadow is in Haiti. Go there and have all the shadow you want. When you come here as a worker, you came here as a temporary person in this country that belongs to Bahamians. That's why you think Trump pushing you all out. Because you've forgotten. See, it isn't just a matter of you coming here and working. You come here and you get arrogant. And you get malicious. And you get vicious. And rather than being the productive people that you probably were at one point, you are now contributing severely to our crime problem. Every shooting that we've had in Harbor Island in this year has been Haitians involved. Then, when we had a couple of drug dealers who decided they want to do dumbness, the Haitians killed them. And you contributed to our economy. How? Because you brought drugs and guns here? Or because you took land that didn't belong to you and created shanty towns and created jobs for people to have to go burn down your house and burn down your shanty town? That's what you did? Is that how you contributed to the economy? Please explain to me. Because you brought in, once you were allowed in, the humans being nice to you, allow you in, you created a system where you could illegally bring in your relatives. You are bribing the passport office to get passports and documents illegally. You're bribing other government officials. You're bribing justices of the peace to sign off on fake marriages. Is that how you're talking about contributing to the economy? Explain that to me. We are in a disastrous place. Hold on, let me finish reading this because this is July 15th. It says, they say they fuel the Bahamian economy, and yet we are pushed into the shadows. UHAB is calling for, that ends now. They said that ends now. UHAB is calling for a national day of peaceful resistance on Saturday, August 2nd, 2025. Haitians across New Providence, Grand Bahama, Abaco, Eleuthera, and Andros will unite in a coordinated protest. Peaceful mass assembly at LPIA, U.S. Departures Terminal, Airport, Nassau. Roadblocks near key points in Nassau, Freeport, or Marshall. One-day work boycott to show our value to this nation. We demand an end to discriminatory immigration raids and demolitions, clear pathways to status for Haitians seeking Bahamian status, open dialogue between the government and Haitian leadership. To our people, remain calm, disciplined, remain peaceful. Do not give them reasons to turn this against us. Organize local pastors, youth leaders. This is your moment. If we do not speak, no one will. If we do not stand, we will always be pushed down. Let them see us. Let them hear us. Let them remember. We are here to stay.
So we heard that, right? We got that Bahamian man basically speaking on how the Haitians being there are very much problematic, causing disruptions, crime, and all types of things. And again, this is in a whole nother area. And people wonder and question, when, let's say, Black Americans happen to say the same things here. People happen to say that they're xenophobic. But I bet you none of those exact same folks who would ever call Black Americans xenophobic and racist or any of these things, they would never say this to this Bohemian man, right? Who lives there, who works there, who has family there, who is watching, right? The degradation of what he knows, what he holds dear, fall down, disappear. I bet you none of those folks will come through and decide to call this man xenophobic for stating what it is that he is seeing, what's going on, what's being reported. But again, like I said before, when it deals with Black Americans stating the obvious and reporting on what is going on, what it is that they are specifically able to see and going through, everybody comes through. Oh, you're xenophobic. You're fear mongering. You're this, you're that. None of this is happening. It's just hearsay. I'm like, wow. Seems very interesting that other people are, having the exact same stories in a whole different place. It's a little bit more, that's quite a coincidence, wouldn't you say? Quite a coincidence. So now, and also, good morning to anybody else who just came directly through. Shout out to Nice. What is up, Brandon V World? What is up? What is up? What's up? AKA Officer Haku. What is up? Much love, respect, and appreciation. Let me see. We got somebody else directly in there. We got NPC said, how you getting subtitles on live such fast? These are subtitles that I placed. Well, this video at least had the subtitles there. In other videos, I have to specifically place those, and then I can, put that video directly to the live stream. What is that? Kiza, what is up? What is up? You said hello and much love to the certified FBA family. Much love, respect, and appreciation. Yo, Cave, what is up? What is up? What is up? See you down there, trees. What is going on? Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. So now we're going to roll to the next video here.
I'm sharing it with my.
And we're going to listen as this woman here speaks on what we can clearly see. And it says that the Caribbean countries agreed to take United States deportees, but St. Kitts and Nevis says no to Haitians. So yet again, it seems that we are having problems here with Haitians for some reason. And again, I'm just going to state, if Black Americans said anything, people automatically claim that Black Americans are xenophobic, right? So let's take a listen. Just rewind this just a bit.
Guys, listen to this. I'm sharing it with my husband as well. There are certain Caribbean countries that have agreed to take people, deportees from the United States who the U.S. cannot deport. Okay? They've agreed, we're going to take them, and we could take them, and they can apply for asylum here. Okay, so you have countries like, which is strange, like Antigua, you have St. Kitts, and some others. I'll give you guys the list in this video. But guess how St. Kitts has structured their agreement. They said, okay, we'll take folks back, and of course these countries, of course, they're not looking for dangerous, what they quote, dangerous, violent people. They'll take folks from the U.S. except Haitians. Except Haitians. Can you believe that?
Wow.
Can you believe that? Yeah. Yeah. That's not right. That's awful, right? He's speechless. That is wrong. Totally wrong. Let me know your thoughts below.
So I'm a little bit confused. How is it totally wrong if they decided that, hey, we're going to take, some other people, but we're not going to take other? Don't people have discernment? Like, aren't people supposed to be able to just be like, hey, this is our right to sit up there and do? Again, the real world doesn't specifically care about your feelings. if people are looking at the news that is coming directly, let's say out of Haiti, the things that are happening there, or whatever, people are free to take from that what it is that they may, right? Because I'll take it back to a different situation. When it deals with Black Americans, specifically Black American men and young Black American boys, whenever people happen to see stories or some type of blurb online and it's something negative, everybody around the world automatically like, oh yeah, that's just what black men do. That's what young black guys do. Like this is just what they do. Like they just do this all. You see it everywhere, right? Everybody around the world, whenever there's a negative headline, they automatically zoom in, they believe it, they have these conversations, and then they kick over these other stories and stuff that they hear, and it's nothing but negative, 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 right? So here you are suffering the exact same thing that Black Americans have always talked about. That just because you have a few directly out there that are performing certain, negative types of actions, it's not indicative of the whole group, but the world does not care, right? If one does it, that means everybody is doing it. It just is what it is. It can be unfair, but again, that's just the world. That's how people tend to view a lot of things. So if these other places are basically telling you, let me just zoom it back to the front. If these other places are telling you that they're not going to accept Haitians, they're obviously doing the exact same thing that the world normally does when they see stories about other folks directly out there. It'd be like that. You're just having your turn directly on the wheel. There is nothing to sit up there and cry about. It just is exactly what it for Black Americans. This is just a Tuesday. But obviously for these folks right here, they really feel some certain type of way. It's like the end of the world type of thing. And I'm like, I don't see how it is. I'm like, historically, this has been happening to Black Americans, since time began. And when Black Americans have said, things about it, or we've, given resistance directly, to it, everybody's told us, oh, just shut up, stop whining, stop acting as victims, and da da da, and all that other type of good stuff. So, I'm just sitting back and repeating the exact same things. I need people to stop playing the victim card. I need people to stop getting their emotions. Right? Because the other thing I set up and told people before is that the energy that people tend to give to Black Americans that we receive, that energy will be placed directly back onto the rest of those that have decided to, give out that energy. Return to sender, if you will. So, like I said, it'd be like that. But anyways, next we're going to go to the next video here, and you will see this Black man speaking. And the title of that video up top says, "Wait till ICE comes after you." Now, this is something that I've heard time and time again from a multitude of different groups out there, from the variety of groups that I've covered stories directly on this platform. I've heard a variety of folks try to sit up there and tell me as a Black American, oh yeah, you're like, guess what? ICE is coming after Black Americans. ICE is going to come after you guys next. How? And what day and age? Because again, what people don't understand is that Black Americans are first and we're going to be last. You guys are just in the middle, and you guys are now just getting your fair share of 1%, barely even that of what it is that historically Black Americans have had to deal with and face in these United States by way of either the police, the military, or the government, or all three. And you have a whole bunch of people out here sitting up there crying, doing the tiny violin and woe is me. But when Black Americans have historically been going through this, everybody was dead silent. But then those same people that were dead silent historically want Black Americans to sit up there and pull up to the scene. But when Black Americans simply say that, hey, we're not pulling up to the scene, we don't got nothing to do with this has nothing to do with our people, here you guys go sitting up there saying, well, we're not going to be there where ICE is coming for you. ICE is coming for you next. What do you think that they're going to do after they're done with all of us immigrants? America's going to do what it's always done. And it's just going to be a Wednesday for us. See how the days just keep going for us, and it's just, becoming a normal week. But when it deals with everybody else, oh my God, the sky is falling, the world is ending. It's crazy work, but let's take a listen to the video.
Comments talking about wait till ICE come after me because I'm next. Let me just say this, bro. Say it with your chest. Because that's not what you really want to say. Man and woman, both of y'all been saying. You want me to be next. You hope I'm next. It's an indirect threat. You try to hide behind the wait till ICE come after you. That's not what you really want to say. You hope I'm next. So I'm gonna let that indirect threat slide. Cause I really think it pisses y'all off that it's literally impossible for me to be next. I think it pisses y'all off that I'm just not in that situation. But the indirect threats, bro, y'all ain't really gotta do that. Just say it with your chest on how you really feel. ICE has already came to my city, and I just stayed out the way. Just like if there was any day that somebody said there's heavy police presence in this area, I just stay out the way. But I don't have nothing to look back over my shoulders for. I have nothing to worry about. So it really pisses y'all off that y'all fell into this trap of being lied to, talking about they're coming after us next. They're gonna get you next. I'm not the type to be fearmonger, bro. You actually sound dumb as hell. I'm really not one of them. ICE was here. I went about my day, went to the stores I needed to go to. I never had to look over my shoulder. They probably saw me. They be in unmarked vehicles. But I have nothing to worry about. Y'all be having these doodle brains listening to everything on the internet talking about they coming after you next. But see, y'all need to keep that over there, though. Don't come in my comments talking about I'm next, because that's not really what you mean. You want me to be next. You hope I'm next. So instead of this indirect threat, just say it with your chest on how you really feel.
So we heard that, right? So, just looking through the comments, we got some people spamming. Just going to sit up there and let you know, if you happen to keep spamming directly in the comment section, you're going to be in the Bermuda Triangle. You're going to be in the shadow realm. Just to let you know, it's early in the morning. Patience is a little bit thin. Didn't really have my coffee, so you can try. you can try me if you want to. Just to let you know. Just to let you know. Somebody said in the comment section, I don't think you're next. We just have to let them do what they do. The United States government has always done what it normally done, and Black Americans have been here in the beginning. We're still here, and we're going to be here in the future. So I'm not sure exactly what you mean, but you might want to study history to just figure out some stuff. Because if the experimentation that the United States government and the military has done, the medical field, all of the different types of assassinations that have taken place in the Black community by way of our people and by way of our leaders, the laws, rules, and the legislations that have been used against us, and many other things directly out there. If that has not really, gotten rid of us, good luck. That's all I'm saying. But the other thing I want to add directly on to listing all of those things, because I know how a lot of white folks like to get like, oh, here we go, we're talking about stuff for so long ago, and now you guys are going to talk about reparations and slavery and da da da. See, the beautiful part about history is that a lot of people want to be willfully ignorant. The other issue directly with that is that I like to inform people that whatever they have done or tried to do to Black Americans were pretty much test runs, genetically speaking. And if they found a way to specifically perfect whatever poisons or whatever it is that they are trying to specifically do to us in order to subdue us, that means that the rest of y'all have no hope. I just want to let you know that at this moment in time, the United States government is not realistically trying to do trial runs specifically on your groupings directly out there. They're targeting one group, and they've been targeting one group for the longest time possible. So the moment in time that they get whatever systems in place or whatever it is that they have perfected or it's near perfection, everybody else out here who has never paid attention to history, who always wants to talk about Black Americans, oh, you guys are always, just playing the victim. Oh, it's over for you. There is no escape for you. I just want you to understand and know that you can think that, oh, you're ultra American and you got all of these armaments, and when they release whatever it is that they need to sit up there and release, good luck. Your genetics you're not going to be able to stop it. You can think that, oh, I'm as pure blood, I'm this, that, and the third as a white man in America. Good luck. Good luck. You're going to be subdued quick, fast, and in a hurry. There's nothing you're going to be able to do. Whatever doomsday scenarios, whatever types of devices that you got, whatever bunkers you got, is curtains for you. It's few, far, and in between of any of y'all that's going to be able to actually survive it when they drop it, when it happens, when it's released. Case in point, we saw how y'all was sitting up there acting clear cut during the pandemic, right? Y'all were losing your minds. Y'all were acting straight crazy. People wasn't sitting up there washing their hands. People open mouth coughing everywhere. Y'all wanted to haul directly to the nearest store, and y'all wanted to, we're going to sit up there and start taking all the bleach. We're going to take all the antibacterial, the hand wash. We're going to take all the toiletry. Y'all wasn't worried about the medicines. Y'all wasn't worried about the food or nothing like that. Y'all took toiletry, bleach, antibacterial, and y'all took the Clorox wipes. And possibly even the sprays. Y'all were just acting a straight fool. And again, that was a test run. And this is why I sat up there and told a lot of folks directly out there that there was a BBC news broadcast that they had where the scientists specifically stated that they are working on a vaccine for disease X. And I simply asked, and this was specifically to a lot of the white folks out there, right? How would you hold on? What'd you say? You said, is this a crying channel or a victim channel? So for one question, adventures, what ethnicity are you? Where specifically are you from? Are you European or are you just white American? Let me know. Let me know. Let me know. I need to sit up there and see something real quick. Let me know. Let me know something real quick. Wait, who is this in the back? Hold on. Are you an NPC? You said it's people like you that make our community and race look so bad, so stupid. Tell me what a white person can do that we can't. I was born in the hood and now own 3 different companies that all are 5. I just want to be real. I'm just gonna be honest. I don't take people like this serious. You have to be a bot. You have to be AI. Because if you're a person that's actually about money and has money, you're not going to be here. This is just normal, everyday conversation amongst normal people. If you're telling me, talking to a normal person, normal everyday person, you're telling me that you got businesses, you got all of this stuff, $5 million. Your tax bracket is completely different. You should be doing rich talk, meaning that you're talking to other rich people focused directly on money. How you magically decided that you came from Olympus and you want to sit up there and look down and you want to walk amongst the basic everyday humans, that don't even make no type of sense. That don't even make no type of sense. That's like magically seeing Warren Buffett in somebody's everyday live stream. That's not happening. It doesn't make sense. It's like seeing Elon or Bill Gates. It don't make sense. It's like I get tired of people sitting up there like writing nonsense directly out like this. Like that type of stuff to me is crazy. I'm like, dog, you right now it's early in the morning. You should be checking like some stock portfolios or something, checking NASDAQ, some crypto. You should be on a yacht. Some like there's a multitude of like rich things that you should be doing to making sure that you stay rich. and that money brings more friends. Being here is not it. Like I said, that's crazy. That is wild to me to sit up there and see people roll up to the scene and say some stuff like that. Let me see. Somebody said, I see America very different from you, sir. I am a Celtic. I see America giving POC far, far more than they ever gave white folks. There is no white music awards. Oh, you gotta be a troll. You are a straight clown direct. So hold on, correct me if I'm wrong. So we don't have the country music awards, the CMAs. We don't have that. Are you serious? You was like, yo, we you do realize that BET, like, yo, that was specifically created because black folks were not, in a lot of these other spaces. Black people were not about to get any type of awards, and different things had to be created specifically so black people could at least celebrate themselves, celebrate their other people directly out there. Because when it deals with us being in any of these other spaces, credit is not, in a sense, it's not really given. You can do 1,000 times better. Whatever you did can just outsell whatnot or whatever. But again, at the end of the day, the main majority, they're going to make sure to celebrate their own. And like I said, there's nothing wrong with that. You sit up there and build the facilities, you build the building, you have every single right to sit up there and celebrate all of your white heroes and white people, whatever it is. Right? But don't sit up there and try to tell me as a black American that white folks here don't have award shows. They don't give out their own awards and all this other. That's crazy. That is wild. That is wild. For the longest time possible, theater was white. Like, this is how I know that a lot of people don't even know nothing about American history, especially when it deals with black Americans. Segregation was very, very tough. Like I said, this is another reason why you also had, on top of racism, this is a reason why you also had blackface, because black people were not allowed directly to be on screen. And then we had some time later where little by little that barrier was starting to be broken. But folks want to pull up here and act like white people are just oppressed in the United States. Where? Like, where? I'm just trying to figure out. I'm just trying to figure out where in the world, in these United States, are just white people all over the United States just disenfranchised. They can't get a job. They can't get money. They can't get loans. They can't get houses. They can't get cars. They can't own businesses. Where specifically is that happening? Because you're saying that you see it differently, right? And you're a Celtic. Again, I'm Black American. Been raised, been here all my life. Family, generationally, right? So I'm just trying to figure out where is this oppression that is happening when it deals with white folks? Because I ain't never seen it. I've never seen in these United States white people be oppressed. They've always been the top class. If somebody wants to sit up there and tell me different, please show me the history. Because good Lord, last time I looked at the presidency, when it deals with the White House and all the presidents, the only person that looked different was Barack Obama. Realistically, everybody else pretty much had the same face, same skin complexion, same hair type. Wives were all of the same community. I mean, geez. Yo, that is wild. That is wild. Yo, like, what is going on out here? Oh, that's hurtful. You said the algorithm shows you weird stuff. Case in point, this channel. I mean, I guess. The beautiful part about the algorithm is that you can also switch the algorithm. What you can easily do is that you can hit the block button. That's the easiest route to do. You can easily hit the block button, and there's the algorithm. You don't have to worry about that no more. But instead of doing something so simple as the average adult with just simple IQ should be able to do, people opt to sit up there and complain. Color me surprised. You would think people were just sitting at Denny's and waiting for their order, but yet this is not that. Wild. Somebody said, victim channel, bet he blames white people for his sad little life. Do I blame white people for my life? White people didn't give me life, so that would be a no. That wouldn't specifically make sense. Now, if we're talking about things that have to do with stuff historically, now we could be onto something right there. But the thing that I noticed that a lot of you folks complaining looked directly over that I highlighted is the fact that the government, well, that's if you're American, chances are you might not be, was that the United States government has not at all been for the people. So for the white folks out there, since you think you're high and mighty masters of the universe, your own government is slowly but surely trying to get rid of you as well too, and stopping your population growth. And they've been actually doing a very great model job of doing that. Um, yeah, it's not looking too good. But y'all don't want to talk about that though. You don't want to talk about the chemicals that you're feeding your family. You don't want to talk about the GMOs. You don't want to talk about Monsanto. You don't want to talk about all of the things that get put directly into the air and the water. You don't want to sit up there and talk about how you have neurotoxic agents directly in your water system and they've been there for decades. You don't want to talk about any of these things that are literally affecting your white families, of which you say that you want to protect, and you want to make sure that you keep your population as high as possible so that the power structure does not flip. But yet you come here and you want to fixate on one thing. You want to come here and you want to question me on something stupid. That's some crazy work. And y'all the same folks that sit up there and say that y'all got the high IQs and all of that great stuff. Like that is diabolical. That is diabolical. Oh, let me see. Somebody said you do realize that there are black and other raves that sing country music, right? I'm not sure if that was a response to me or somebody else. Yo, wow, what is up? What is up? What is up? Wow said Hito got hands rated E for everyone. That is facts. That is bars. That is 100% bars. Uh, somebody said, hold on, why do you got bro's picture up there like that? That was a part of a video that we played, and I paused it because I started going directly to the comment section as I normally do. Oh, also, what is it? Soulfully. Yo, so let me just let you know, Soulfully, I see your comments a lot, and your comments do have a lot of information. So let me just highlight you real quick so you know that I'm talking about you. I see your comments a lot and they show up in the background. The problem is why your comments don't show up a lot is because that you have links directly in them. And I've made sure to stop that from showing up in the comment section because you have a lot of people out there that want to do nefarious thing with links, and I try to do my best, at least on my end on the channel, to protect people from push type links or any type of malware or things like that, where their information or whatnot or whatever could get compromised and or stolen. So if you do want to post the stuff that you normally post, just make sure that you don't have any type of links directly in there. So just to let you know. Let me see. Somebody said this is just a racist rant channel. That's wild. I mean, I've been called a racist every single day, so you're not doing anything, no. That's been going for about what, like, how long have people been saying that I'm racist for? About what, like 6 years now, I think. Crazy work though. I love it though. Um, let me see. Michael Hayes said you just named everything. Somebody else said oppressed by Karen. Another person said you are offended. I am Irish, and you're telling me about POC not being allowed. This and what about the Irish? I mean, are you? Is that a response to me for the K Taylor, the Irish comment? Is that a response to me or somebody else? Let me know. Somebody said you're ridiculous. I'll take that. Somebody said blacks are the biggest victims in the world. I guess. Yo, what is up, Mo? Good morning, good morning, good morning. Somebody said, why are you labeling yourself as Black American or White American or Latino American? Why not just be American? The beautiful part is because that's not how America works. It's crazy to me that when Black Americans directly out here decide that they just want to, whatever branding that they want to give themselves, it's very interesting how people want to have a unique problem or they want to try to find a problem. The whole main thing is they're still saying that they are American. They just have that identifier directly there. Because I know myself, I could sit up there and say that I'm American, but if I'm around Irish folks, right? If I'm around Italian folks, correct? If I'm around other folks, they're going to still notice the difference that is directly there, right? I can be American here, but if I'm amongst other groups, they're still going to let me know and tell me that I'm different in a variety of other ways. So like I said, I'm just standing directly on solid ground. That's all I'm doing. And people should not specifically have a problem with that because it's fun. It's like it's as if y'all are trying to say that if we say that we are Black American, that we're trying to disassociate ourselves from America, which is not the case. It's just crazy that we even have to go by and try to explain this. It's crazy work. It's wild out here. Let me see. Somebody said Irish people weren't allowed to get jobs for the longest time, and they weren't allowed homes or even allowed to get married, and that was happening even during the Civil War. So, what does that have to do with Black Americans? What does that have to do with Black Americans? You're talking about a whole. So you have, as the Irish, y'all got a problem with the United States government. So you need to take that up with the United States government. It's a little bit confusing to me how the Irish and many others, the Irish, the Scots, whoever, if Black Americans talk about slavery, here y'all come talking about, oh, but the Irish and the Scots, we were slaves here. Like you guys weren't the only ones that were slaves. We didn't say that we were. We're talking about our story. We're talking about what it is that happened to us. Just because something happened to you by way of the exact same government doesn't mean that we have to add you into the exact same pot, because the same exact treatment that we got in the past is the same treatment that we're getting right now. So, like I said before, you can list the things that happened to you in the past, but are you still going through those things? Do you have indentured servitude that you still have to sit up there and do for a certain amount of time, and then once after that contract is done, you're free and you got your no, you don't have to do that no more. Anything that you're telling me right now that, oh, we weren't able to get married, Irish people can get married. We got St. Patrick's Day and all this other, we got holidays and everything else. So I'm just a little bit confused on how y'all are even trying to sit up there and say anything, because last time I checked, y'all don't have like a high exoneration rate going on in the United States. You don't have cops sitting up there specifically and blatantly coming out on videos talking about, yeah, they specifically target Black people for X, Y, and Z and all this other type of biases and whatnot or whatever. Y'all ain't going through that. Like I said, whenever Black Americans list some stuff, here comes everybody else trying to pile directly on, when people could just simply just talk about it directly on their time in their own spaces. It's crazy how when Black Americans got to play, everybody want to pile their stuff directly on there too, and we got to carry that. Nah, that's crazy. That's wild. Somebody said you obviously don't understand algorithms. Actually, I do. Because I've had to do a lot of things behind the scenes of which you wouldn't actually understand. So I have a fair bit amount of understanding. Number one, disliking. Number two, adding block. Number three, if you decide to watch different types of videos and you decide not to actually stay on them for about like 5 to 10 seconds, which feeds into the algorithm. Like those videos, feeds into the algorithm. Leave comments, it feeds into the algorithm. Also, bookmarking, such as watch for later, feeds into the algorithm. I have a pretty fair amount of time with dealing with algorithms and actually having an understanding, because I've been on a variety of platforms, and I've also shown people how to train algorithms and how different algorithms work in different areas, such as how the TikTok algorithm looks versus how the United States algorithm looks. So, like I said before, it's crazy. People be swearing that I don't know some stuff, but it be like that. Let me see. Somebody said, so when you don't like the opposite opinion, yours, us, block me. I don't even know what this says. Um, do, 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 do. Somebody said, why block when you can just sit up there and learn how people think? Well, if you're going to come here and complain, you're not sitting there to actually listen, to actually hear. You're sitting there to just spam. You're sitting there to disrupt and to carry on a bunch of nonsense. Trust me, I've been doing this for 6 years. So a lot of y'all may have just gotten here. I've been here for quite some time. So I done seen this thousands, if not potentially hundreds of thousands of times when it deals with comments. It don't matter if it's on shorts, if it's on standard videos or live streams, or a combination of both, on top of being on other platforms. So yeah, like I said, that's some crazy work. Somebody said he's not able to see the truth. He's a demon. I mean, I guess whatever you need me to be to sleep at night, I can be that. I can be the devil himself if you just give me all of your energy. Shout out to whoever knows where that's from. Um, let's see what else do we got here. Is that Ice Spice that I see up there? Somebody got an Ice Spice image up there. Somebody says, so you're saying that only white people were the ones who created poison fed to the American people? Really? Do we really have to go directly through this again? Lord have mercy. Hold on. Give me a second. Uh Lord have mercy. All right, let me just do it that way. Okay, so it seems that we got to go through an education field at this moment in time. I really wish we didn't have to do it, but it seems that people can't actually look up stuff directly for themselves. Since people want to go this far, I got you, no problem. I got so we're going to clear cut go directly over this, and you're going to let me know where Black Americans have anything to do with this. It says that the United States government has been linked to incidents involving the exposure of Black communities to toxic substances through historical human experimentations, a historical lack of environmental regulations, and a disproportionate placement of polluting facilities in Black neighborhoods. These issues fall under the concept of environmental racism, which describes how communities of color, Black Americans, are systematically burdened by health hazards, historical incidences, and experiments. Tuskegee syphilis experiment, 1932 through 1972. The infamous study conducted by the United States Public Health Service involved nearly 400 Black men with syphilis who were unknowingly observed without receiving proper treatment. Even when penicillin became widely available, the men were deceived, and study resulted in numerous deaths and infections of participants, wives, and children. The incident is a major source of medical mistrust amongst African Americans. So, just in case people are a little bit lost, because people like to sit up there and say that I'm racist, right? So we're going to take a look at just an image of the Tuskegee experiment here. We're going to just take a look directly at that, right? So if we look directly at this image here, who is injecting poison? Who's injecting poison? It's not Black Americans doing it to themselves. It's not Black America. I'm looking at the image. And it's not Black Americans doing it to themselves. Just saying. Let me see. Just going through this. Freckled woman. I think you're hanging out with the wrong people if you are always about black, white, brown, yellow. The craziest part is if human beings would actually look at other people as human beings, we wouldn't have these conversations. And I'm talking about historically, but that's not where we are. People divide themselves directly by race. People divide themselves by religions. People divide themselves by ideologies. People divide themselves by bloodlines. So magically, as a person who is of the world, correct? So when I basically do the exact same thing mirror wise, and I'm doing the exact same thing that the world has taught me, now for some odd reason, I'm a demon and I'm a villain. I can't, really see what's really out there. I can't. I have no understanding. I'm not trying to actually hear the truth. No, I know what the actual truth is. But as I told people before, and this is something I don't think a lot of people understand, I'm going to meet people where they are. So because you yourself feel that you are tolerant and you are different from the rest of the folks directly out there, that doesn't mean that the rest of the 8 billion people feel the exact same way, because if they did, we wouldn't have slavery still going on across the planet. We wouldn't have child abduction going on across the planet. We wouldn't have child marriages going on across the planet. We wouldn't have to sit up there and worry about trying to write in laws so that women can get their fair shake across the planet. We wouldn't have to sit up there and worry about people being Christian and Muslim and all this other. So miss me with any of this type of stuff where y'all try to pull up to the scene and act like you are better than thou, because I'm pretty sure that a lot of y'all live in a country of which has performed war against another group of people for a variety of reasons, especially if you're in the United States. Especially if you're in the United States. Yeah, you have no right to sit up there and try to tell somebody that they need to hang around different people or think differently. What? You watch your government sit up there and invade other countries every single day. You watch them sit up there and sit idly by and stick their noses in other people's political business, capture other people's presidents, cause all different types of coups and civil wars. But you want to pull up to the scene and try to make it seem like you're better than thou. I'm the greatest demon directly out there. I'll be that. At least I know exactly what I am, instead of living in some type of falsehood like the rest of you directly out here. Like, that's crazy to me. That is wild out here. That is 100% wild. 100% wild. Let me see what else we got. Let me see. Just looking through the comments. Dun, dun, dun. Somebody said, cry more. I mean, if you, you just sitting up here spamming? Oh, no problem. Just get you up out of here, because you ain't even saying that, and that's even fun. Somebody was trying to tell him to be respectful. It don't even matter, because he's out of here. Like I said, if you just sitting up there just like senselessly like spamming, it's like, yeah, you're just gonna be up out of here. You're just like a waste of space, and it'll make it easier for me to see other people's comments. He said, all Americans are being fed poison today. What some unethical scientist did doesn't mean everyone that is a scientist is an unethical POS. Oh, dear Lord. You do realize that even if, let's say, if you have, good scientists directly out there, how long is it before they get corrupted? Or how long is it before they have to, proceed to be on the run? Because they only got 2 choices. Well, technically 3. The third one is pretty much not being here anymore. So that's why I want to leave it directly at the 2. You got the choice of running or the choice of being corrupt. And a lot of scientists are not running, so they choose corruption. It's the exact same way that when it deals with the police and it deals with the military. You could have some good cops directly out there, right? Because a lot of white folks say back the blue and all this other type of stuff, thin blue line. Cool, no problem, right? White people love the police. They obey the police. Law abiding, oath keepers. Cool, no problem. Have no problem with that, right? But at the same time, if you have good cops, but they're amongst bad cops, how do you think that that's going to play out? I can tell you because I've done a lot of videos, and I've specifically covered a video that took place in California where a man who served his time in the military came home and still wanted to serve America the best way that he knew how, which was by protecting the people. And he opted to enlist as a police officer. In a moment of time, he enlisted as a police officer and he noticed corruption. He did what any good soldier would do, is that he went through the chains of commands and reported it. But when he reported it, he didn't understand or know how corrupt the full system was. It was corrupt through the whole chain to the point where they had a target on that man's back because he wanted to point out and get rid of the corruption directly there in that police force. So again, like I said before, miss me with all of the BS that y'all want to sit up there and say about, oh, everybody's not the well, you only got two choices realistically in this life. And that's if you want to live. That's if you don't want your family to be affected if you're in these important areas. Like I said, unbeknownst to a lot of y'all here that want to sit up there and clown, again, I've covered a lot of serious topics and a lot of videos to try to actually inform a lot of folks directly out there. But due to the amount of astonishing ignorance that I can clearly see in this comment section, this is why none of those videos actually went anywhere. Because a lot of y'all will actually be, you want to stay in like a type of willful ignorance. You want to be just there. So when something happens, you can say that, oh, you just didn't know, then that you were just surprised, instead of actually understanding and doing the research so that you can see what's coming directly down the pipeline, instead of being caught, quote unquote, like a deer in headlights. And then when the last minute, when the clock strikes 12, you now want to, oh, we need to come up with a plan. We need to do this. It's too late. Just lie down. It's too late. Just lie down and go to sleep. Lie down and go to sleep like you've been doing. Like I said, just like I said in a previous live stream, a lot of y'all don't want to sit up there and listen. When Black Americans are we're actually trying to convey some stuff and talk directly to y'all. Y'all want to get caught up on the small things and don't even want to pay attention to the bigger picture that we're actually painting for you. And then y'all the same ones sitting up there asking me in the comment section, like, oh, why you always focus on race? Why can't we just sit up there and be American? Why can't we just sit up there and come together? Why can't y'all just simply shut up and actually listen, instead of always trying to have your mouth open, think you know something, and putting in some type of input which nobody asked specifically for? Like I said, y'all calling me a demon directly in my own comment section. And you think that I'm supposed to what, like look past that and just keep going? Nah. No, 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 no. That is not how we work. Like I said, y'all dealing with a whole different type of breed of folks directly out here. Disrespect is returned 100-fold, whether you like it or not. But it's not going to be the disrespect that you know and used to. Like I said, that's crazy. But like I said, y'all got it. Like I said, when the next pandemic basically comes around, white folks, I'm going to be watching you. I'm going to be reporting on every single thing that you guys are doing, just like I was doing previously. And y'all are the main ones out of every other demographic out here. Y'all are the main ones acting crazy for no reason. But y'all the ones that's supposed to control chaos. Y'all the ones that's supposed to smolder the flames, calm everything down. Y'all are the most chaotic ones directly out here for no reason. Mainstream media had to come out and tell y'all to calm down, tell y'all to relax, tell y'all to wash your hands, tell y'all how to conduct yourselves. They weren't sitting up there talking to any other demographic in these United States. They were talking to the main majority, the ruling class here. Like I said, it's crazy. That's 100% crazy. Try to tell people some stuff and y'all just do not want to listen. Like that is some diabolical work. Let me see what else do we got directly up here. Let me see. Don't blame another country. Live in so many different countries, and America's the best. And Maduro's a dictator. Even his own country celebrated getting rid of him. I mean, that's cool, right? He could have been a dictator. But what I'm simply going to say is this, right? America needs to stay out of other folks' business, because there's going to come a point in time. Because, like I said, if we look around the world, America does not really have a lot of friends at this moment in time. I'm not sure if people have been paying attention for the longest time possible, but the thin line between America having friends and allies, it's been shifting, and it's very much lopsided at this moment in time. So, like I said, if there was a moment in time in history where multiple countries came together and they were taking lands in these United States, or before it was considered the United States, what do you think would basically happen again? Because if you got a multitude of people attacking one person, it's pretty much over. You're not going to be able to fight off 7 combatants. And at that moment in time, the only option that America basically has is a nuclear one. And that's when everybody loses. And I'm pretty sure if you are in these United States, I'm pretty sure that is not an option that you ever want to see happen at this moment. Nobody wants to see that happen. But I'm letting you know, just like I fair well know about this country, that America is not about losing. If America is going to lose, everybody loses. So, like I said, I'm trying to convey a lot of stuff in so many words, but I'm pretty sure that people just, they're not going to get it. They're not going to understand it. Like I said, people don't understand. Like, why do you think that a lot of these countries out here have not attacked the United States yet the way that they've attacked other countries? Like, the other countries, other people around the world know how America works. They can say whatever it is that they want to do, and they can have arguments, but they know if they ever at a point in time decided to actually truly attack America the way that the rest of the world attacks each other, everybody's going to lose. America is not going to be the main one. Is not going to be the only loser on us. Everybody is going to suffer, and it's going to be fallout everywhere. Like I say, I can't make that any clearer. And again, if you're in the United States, if you are American and you don't understand what I'm saying, there's no hope for you. So keep voting in the exact same political system that you've been voting for, and thinking that they're going to do your bidding, because they don't. The electoral colleges, they got that directly on lock. Yo, wow, what is up? What is up? What up? You said, did I see your comment? Possibly. I don't think I did, because I was scrolling through. I do see somebody up here. Oh, that's Bowser with Blue Marvel. I see. Yeah, I'm not even sure what time you might have wrote that comment, because I tried to go back up, and I cannot specifically see it. Yo, D Love, what is up? What is up? Much love, respect, and appreciation. Let me see. Timothy said SEIJI GMOs are the way to go. That's how we enter the X-Men timeline. I mean, probably so, but I'm not trying to see, what type of mutations are going to come from that, though. I'm not really trying to see that. Yo, Mahoko, what is up? What is up? You said you remember that story? Yeah. Like I said, I felt bad for that cop too, because I'm like, yo, he was genuinely, and that was an honest dude. Like, this is a dude who literally put his life on the line for the United States to come back and serve, and now he got a target on his back by those who he went overseas to sit up there and and basically sacrifice his life for. He simply tried to do the right thing, and like I said, you don't see all these American patriots and whatnot trying to stand behind that military guy / cop. They're not trying to do it. They'll stand behind the corrupt ones, though. It don't matter what evidence is shown about those cops. They'll show up behind the corrupt ones, but the ones that are trying to call out the other cops, nah, they don't care. Like I said, and that's why I say, like, a lot of these folks out here, they're 100% frauds. Just like a lot of folks that say that, oh, we love the military. No, you don't, because if you love the military, then the VA would not be in shambles. If you love the military so much, then a lot of these men and women who go to sit up there and serve, they should be able to come back home, and they should have discounts, like such as getting homes or cars or different things like that. Like, we should be really showing America, at most, should be showing them the utmost appreciation for them sacrificing their lives. We got a lot of men and women that come back over here, half a man and half a woman. They're missing all types of limbs, half a brain. They might be missing a jaw because of an explosion or something like that. Like they're not even the same person. And then that's just physically. That's not even talking about what they're going through mentally. And then what does the government sit up there and do? They just abandon them and throw them on the street because they serve no further purpose. They're not the same robots that they once were. They're old and outdated and broken, and nobody has the parts to pick them up and fix them. So they just discard them like they do with everybody else. And they got to fight tooth and nail to just get a little bit of money after sitting up there risking their lives serving this country. And then you got all of these folks out, oh, we love the military, we support them. No, you don't. You're all liars. You're all liars. You'll support them on the holidays. That's what you do. When it's time to barbecue, when it's time to cook out, when it's time to be around the family, when it's time to get that day off, yeah, that's when everybody's a patriot. That's when everybody's talking about, oh yeah, we support the men and women. Let's sit up there and salute them real quick. That's when y'all really want to start waving flags. The rest of the 365 days a year, I don't see none of y'all out here on these streets supporting the military. Don't see y'all across the United States. Do not see y'all. And I'm not talking about, oh, but they do it in small towns. I don't care about no small towns. I'm talking about seeing that everywhere. Like I'm able to see the news about every other state and all the other types of things that's going on. I want to see it just like that. As proud as y'all want to sit up there and wave a flag and y'all want to have it directly by y'all name on X or on TikTok and all these other social medias, you want to have the flag up on your house and all, as much and as proud, as loud as you want to be like that, y'all need to be like that directly for when these men and women come back, but you're not. And you never will be. Because a lot of y'all are frauds. 100% frauds. Like I said, that's wild. Like I said, it's wild out here, man. Yo, what's up, Gail? What is going on? Good morning. Is it still morning right now? Yeah, good morning, good morning, good morning. Yeah, please do not start spamming like Bible verses. Please don't. Are you just sitting up there calling me racist? No problem. That's normal. You're doing the same thing as the ones before you. Nothing different. Now, where are all of these folks coming from with these Bible verses? Why? Timothy said, if Sergi is a demon, well, welcome to hell. I'm agreed on the fourth floor. Yo, it's crazy. Yo, that is crazy out here. It be like that though. I guess that's where the Bible verses came from, because I said I'm a demon, I guess. That's some crazy work. It gotta be bots. Let me see what else we got. Gail said he'd rather say you people instead of y'all. Yo, it's crazy. Yeah, that is 100% crazy. The wicked destroy themselves, not just during the pandemic as a group. They either created the chaos or defended it. Yeah, I showed quite a few videos of people during protests, and again, peaceful protest. Right. So let me just highlight your comment real quick. I even showed videos during the protest, during the whole thing of the pandemic, where you have folks out there, peaceful protests and everything like that. And then you'll have this transparent being wearing a type of breathing mask, deciding that, oh, let me go by this business with a hammer or a brick and start breaking out the windows. And then people that were there during the protest that noticed this, they was calling out. They was like, hey, he is not with us. We don't know who he is. And then you slowly but surely saw that dude in shock. And he was like, oh, let me just slowly. It was almost like a cartoon. Dude was slowly backing away and then went around a garbage can and ran. Because the main thing I told people is that a lot of these cops, like I said, y'all like to support these cops. A lot of these cops are the ones how do you say, agents of chaos. Those are the same folks that perform a lot of the actions that get a lot of stuff started in a lot of these protests. Because what do people normally say? All you need is one match to light a bale of hay or something like that. Y'all know what I'm saying. But pretty much that's what happened. I even showcased a video just like that when it happened in Canada. And the people that were protesting directly there, and rightfully so, they caught 3 cops. And the reason that they knew that it was 3 cops were specifically because of the shoes that they were wearing. They were not normal everyday shoes that you would get from, let's say, like a Foot Locker or a footwear, whatever, type of foot store that you got. These were specific, very specific shoes that cops wear. And they were able to tell by the shoe print and also the mud print as well too. So, like I said before, people, you got a lot of folks out here that's not trying to listen, that don't want to pay attention. Wild said Black Americans have the right to play victim because we have been the victims of racism from every other race. Yo, what is up? Oh yeah, I think I did say what is up, D Love. Hopefully I did. Timothy said you love the military, but a lot are homeless or on benefits. Yeah, I know some folks that are part of the military and they got to fight tooth and nail for their money, and I'm like, that just shouldn't be. Like I said, I know somebody that is retired from the military. I think it might have been due to injury. It's an older guy by the name of Joe, nice dude, church going dude, highly religious, and he was telling me how horrible the VA is, what it is that he has to sit up there and go through, and like I said, it was to the point where he had to be like, all right, well, I might just have to start working again. Let me get in the car and let me start doing some Ubering and chauffeuring people. He like this, and this is what I be talking about. He's too old to be doing that. My belief is once you get to a certain age, you shouldn't have to work because you've worked enough through your youth and another part of your younger older life where things should have been accumulated to the point by way of the United States government that you should be completely fine and dandy. And then on top of that, added on to the fact that again, you got Social Security and different things of that nature, and then he's retired from the military. He really should not have to need or try to beg for anything. But like I said, that's the reality that is currently here in the United States when it deals with the military. And again, that just should not be. I can disagree with, a lot of the wars and all that other type of stuff. But again, if you got people for whatever reason that they want to be in the military, if you got people willing to go over there and sacrifice their life and they come back over here, they should be able to at least get something. Half on housing, half directly on cars. Groceries should be half like that. Those should be the things that should be allotted to a lot of these folks out here because they're doing stuff that everybody here in this chat, I'm talking about just normal everyday people, would not go out there and do. And I done said it 99 times. I'm not about to go out here and be fighting for no wars because I understand and know the history of the United States and how it is that Black American soldiers did not specifically get credited throughout history. Like I said, I remember the history books that I read directly from. And I had to learn later outside of middle school and high school about the Black soldiers that specifically helped the United States in a variety of wars. When realistically, if we're all American, all of that history should have just been in those books, but it's not. They pick and choose what it is that they want to teach. Like I said, history, the history books, they'll sit up there and teach you about Martin Luther King and Rosa Parks, but they will not teach you about the resistance that Black Americans have put up when it deals with the systems and or the governments. And again, you have to ask yourself why. The other thing that the United States government likes to do is control the way of the media. Whenever you have resistance or you have other groups around, let's say like Italy, like protest in Europe or South America, they've had protests over the years that have shut down their governments. But you don't hear about those things really in mainstream media news. You don't really get a chance to see that even on the internet because they control specifically what it is that you see because they don't want you to get any ideas. They're fine with you disagreeing. They're fine with you specifically talking about the government and everything like that, but they don't want you as a group, as everybody, specifically like, oh, this is a problem. We need to sit up there and pair up. We need to get together and we need to, sit up there and let them know that, hey, we're not going to sit up there and take this. They're not trying to see that. Proof of which, Let me take it directly back to the pandemic. Back during the time where, as I like to call it, the Coliseum was closed, meaning that people were not able to, let's say, go to the movies. They weren't able to go to arcades. They couldn't go out to eat at dinners. Everything was pretty much shut down. The only thing that people had was the outside. Because unlike Australia, Australia had laws set in place where if they saw you outside, you were going to receive a fine or jail time. If you were outside of your house, outside of your backyard during the pandemic, you're going to receive jail time. You can go look this stuff up. The United States didn't really take it that far, but how far they took it, which was they were going to try to, put in not the real ID, but they were going to try to put in verifications where it had your paperwork medically, and they were like, if it's green or whatnot, whatever, you can go to this club. You can go to this restaurant. You can go to the football game, the basketball game, the NHL, NASCAR, whatnot, or whatever. But because everybody didn't sit up there and opt directly into it, that plan completely fell apart, and that's all we specifically heard directly from it. So again, it goes directly back to people being bored. What are we going to sit up there and do? Everybody was actually paying attention because the normal news that they normally, the propaganda that they sit up there and normally give you, that had to die down. So now you had to deal with some type of real journalism. And now the stories that you saw were like, yo, this is what the police doing. This is what's going on in the government. And this is what's going on with this and that. It was basic issues, but something that everybody could actually see and realize like, yo, this is wrong. This should not be happening. So this is when you saw a lot of people in the United States getting up and going out there to protest because they understood that, yo, something has to be done about this, because if this is specifically happening to Black Americans, it could easily happen to anybody else. So we need to sit up there and like take a stand. We need to speak out. We need to do this, right? But the moment in time that everybody actually stood up, what did the United States do? Literally within the overnight, or better yet, within like a week or the same month, they were like, "Up, no problem. We're gonna pull up the restrictions. You guys can go back to the movies, go back to dinner, go back to the NBA games, go back to NASCAR, MLB, go back to the NFL." Go back to wherever it is that you need to go back. Matter of fact, you don't even have to worry about being 6 feet no more. They relaxed every single thing because they realized that, yo, everybody's actually looking at the problems and we don't have anything to block them from seeing this. They're actually seeing what's going on and they're paying attention. They're not as dumb as we thought that they were. We got to open everything back up. And that's what they did. They opened everything right back up. And what are we doing right now? Business as usual. It's almost as if we did not sit up there and skip a beat, even though if you specifically ask people, thinking back to the pandemic, can they remember a lot of stuff? It's going to be very foggy. Memories are going to be quite shot when it deals with recollecting certain things. But like I said, there was a lot of things, that was happening, that was going on. But people tend to forget. And as I said before, this is when you have a lot of folks that pull directly up and they want to start talking a whole bunch of nonsense and they want to start running their mouth and saying this and that in the comment section. Again, you got to understand when you get to a certain point and people realize that you have just a little bit of attention that you can gather, this is when you start seeing the bots. This is when you start seeing the AI start rolling directly through the platform. And you got all of these random comments that's not really talking about nothing. That's not even adding to the topic at all. That can't even stay on the topic. So like I said, I do a lot of videos and I do a lot of live streams to show off a variety of things. And, I have to do so much explaining. I have to do so much explaining, but it'd be like that. It'd be like that. I'm not even sure how we even got to German show. So you're just gonna keep copy and pasting? I'm telling you, like, dog, if you keep spamming, it's gonna be a problem. Let me see what we got. Wild said, having facts, but that don't matter. The facts of the matter is the tsunami is almost here. Yo, Tippy, what is up? What is up? What is up? You said I'm here. What did I miss? Not much. Technically, I've actually been talking for about a good hour and 14, and I'm only on the first. That was just the first video. Yo, that is some wild work. But anyways, um, well, actually, I think we actually went over two videos. My Epic launcher just popped up for no reason. Wait, no. One, two, three. Actually, yeah. We did three videos. So next we're gonna move on, directly from this because I'm pretty sure people were able. This was up there long enough that people, read what was directly on the screen. So now we're gonna go to the next video, and this is in a sense touching on those who consider themselves Creole and their specific feelings about different branding, such as Solon and Black American and everything in between.
Look, I ain't trying to be funny or nothing, but y'all literally just made FBA and Solon less than 10 years ago. Hell, probably less time than that. Y'all made that shit on TikTok and Twitter, but y'all want to come on here and scrutinize and question Louisiana Creoles about the legitimacy of Louisiana Creole being an ethnic group and talk about we don't have enough history, our culture can't stand alone by itself, and we're a subculture and all this and all that. Even though we developed independently from African Americans and the 13 colonies and all that, and we was around before the Louisiana Purchase. But then y'all will come on here and want to force us to identify as FBA and Solon, some shit that was created 4 or 5 years ago. So you are gonna say that FBA, Foundation of Black American, and Solon are ethnic groups, but Louisiana Creole is not. And then on top of that, y'all also be the same ones saying that y'all are not African American because y'all don't like the African in the name African American, even though that's what y'all been called since 1782. And we've been called Creole since the early 1700s, 1719. But we should throw both of those names away, both of those ethnic names away for Solon and FBA. Child, get the out of my face.
So this one will say because I didn't touched on quite a few videos dealing with Creoles. Look here, for me, I really don't care. I don't care what those who are Creole want to sit up there and call themselves. I let them directly be because as she stated before, she said that they are completely separate from Black Americans. So all I'm basically hearing is that you are your own people. You got your own problems with the United States government. So if at any moment in time that reparations are due, Creoles have nothing to do with that because Creoles are completely separate from anything that Black Americans had to do because they were completely their own people. And yeah, that's all I'm hearing. We have no connect Creoles and Black Americans and Creoles. We have no type of connections at all. Cool, fine, no problem. That's where I sit up there and leave it. That's how I'm looking at it. That's how I'm listening directly to the lady here. And the main thing I sat up there and told people before is that when dealing at least with the terminology African American, because Black Americans here have been the most rebranded people out of all. Nobody else has the most rebrandings, bar none, when it deals with Black Americans. Nobody. Um, and back in when I did a little bit of research, back in about the late 80s, Jesse Jackson was the main one who pretty much coined and brought into popularity the terminology African American. And it wasn't up until the 2000s that the greater majority of the Black population here in the United States started carrying on with the term African American. And now we're at a point because we have all of this stuff from other groups directly out here trying to tell us that, oh, we got Africans out here telling us that we're not African. And I'm like, you know what? At first I was offended. And I'm like, you know what? You're actually right. Because I told people before Elon Musk is an African American because he's from Africa, right? Elon is from Africa and he came to America, making him a African American, right? You got Africans that come from the continent of Africa, right? So they could be Nigerian, Kenyan, whatever it is, and they come to America. That makes them African American, right? See how that works? See how it muddies the waters? When you got groups of people that can come from somewhere else and pretty much be linked in because of a name, that's a bad thing, right? And this is when I told people before, like, even with that, when it deals with that separation from that name, there needs to be an asterisk. Because just because we're in a sense doing our own branding and we're standing directly with that, does not mean that those other folks that just got here get to basically take on all of that history. That doesn't mean that they get to sit up there and be like, oh, raise their hands, talking about like, oh, well, I'm African American. I get to sit up there and get first dibs on reparations. You better get to the back of the ship. You better get to the back of the ship. You better have your hand up. You ain't getting nothing. Mm-mm. Like I said, there needs to be an asterisk. There needs to be very specific things set in place that are very strict so that nobody can move to or from or try to slide directly in. Because like I said, I ain't about that life. I'm not the type of person that would try to sit up there and claim that I'm African and then automatically, as soon as Africans are going to, let's say, get some type of form of reparations or whatnot from Europe because of what it is that they've been through and still going through, they get their monies. I'm not about to hold my hand up and be like, oh yeah, I deserve some too because I'm African. No, that's theirs. The same thing with the Haitians and the same thing with the Jamaicans. I'm not going to sit up there and claim that I'm any of them. And then as soon as they're about to get some reparations, I got my hand up. Oh, I'm Jamaican, I'm Haitian, I'm from the islands. No. I'm not doing that. So again, within that respect, I need others out there to sit up there and respect Black Americans the exact same way. For some odd reason, that's hard for people to do. That's very difficult for a lot of folks to understand, even though I'm speaking English. People just don't understand what that means, which is crazy to me. But like I said, it's crazy. It's diabolical. But that also goes into did I take a picture directly of that, as a matter of fact? Because I mentioned I didn't take a picture of it. So let me take a picture of the article real quick. Let me just do that. I wanted to actually do the video, but I wasn't sure if the screen cap was going to work along with the sound, so I opted not to do it. Let me just blur out the side so it won't be a distraction. Right. So about 2 weeks ago from this article was written 2 weeks ago, as you're going to be able to see in front of you. This is what is going on in California at the moment in time. It says San Francisco's mayor signs reparation fund ordinance for the city's Black residents. And again, the problem with that is you have other people in there that try to identify as Black and they're not. Because you got people out there like, oh, I'm Dominican. I'm no Black. I'm Haitian. I'm no Black. I'm Jamaican. I'm no Black. I'm Caribbean. I know Black. I'm African. I know Black. Right. You got a lot of these folks out there that will specifically tell Black Americans that they are not Black. But when money is basically there, everybody's going to have their hand up. And I'm pretty sure how difficult this is going to be is that you're going to have some random white folks directly out there. They're gonna be like, oh well, I'm 2% Black. I got a great whatever, and I should be able to get some some reparations. Like I said, there needs to be very strict rules directly from this, because ain't none of these white folks out here that's going to try to claim this when money is directly on the board. I promise you, I need to see what your state ID been saying for the longest time possible. If you've been identifying as white or Caucasian, no, you're not getting nothing. That's how strict you can make it. I'm going to look at your birth certificate. That's how strict we're going to sit up there and get directly on that. Because you're not about to be trying to do no 2-drop rule directly out here because you see some money. We're not doing that. Like I said, y'all might have been able to get over one when it dealt with the USDA and the Black farmers and how it is that they were going to get money, and white people can get online on Fox News and start crying and saying that it's unfair so that they can sit up there and double dip because they were already getting the lump sum and the fair share, the lion's share directly at it. Y'all might have been able to do that here. You're not about to do that here. You're not about to sit up there and do that here. So what they said is that the mayor, Daniel Lurie, has signed an ordinance establishing a reparations fund for Black residents in San Francisco, a move supporters say acknowledges historic harm. Critics argue it is unnecessary, legally questionable, and potentially costly, even without city funds. They said that the measure, which passed the Board of Supervisors unanimously on December 16th, establishes a fund for reparations for Black residents who can demonstrate that they have experienced a proven harm in San Francisco. The mayor also signed the ordinance into law last week without a public announcement. And in a statement, the mayor emphasized that the city's fiscal constraints, quote, I was elected to drive San Francisco's recovery, and that's what I'm focused on every day. We are not allocating money to this fund. With a historic 1 billion budget deficit, we are going to spend our money on making the city safer and cleaner. Supporters also state that the ordinance represents an important acknowledgement of the city's role in historic injustice against Black residents. What they're saying, quote, I would argue that the city is accountable for not just investing in this fund, but for supporting in all ways possible the recommendation of our plan, including financial repair. And that was stated by Eric McDonald, who is the former chair of the African American Reparations Advisory Committee. He also stated that, quote, it is a step in the right direction. It by no means demonstrates or represents a full-on commitment to making something happen. McDonald's committee, which concluded its work in early 2024 after the 3-year term, produced more than 400-page report in 2023 with over 100 recommendations aimed at addressing historic harms, including housing displacement, discriminatory policies, and economic exclusion. Among those recommendations was a proposal for a one-time $5 million payment for each eligible person, right? So let's go to the criticisms. Critics, however, have stated that the measure raises serious concerns, even without direct payments. Conservative columnist and political commentator Richie Greenberg stated that the ordinance could still cost taxpayers money by requiring the city to set up a new bureaucracy and defend potential legal challenges. Quote, when I learned that he signed this, right, he was disappointed. I had hoped that he would have said, this is something that we don't need at this point. Greenberg also questioned whether accepting private donations through city coffers is appropriate and warned the policy would expose the city to lawsuits. Quote, even though it is true that there were injustices in the 1940s, 50s, and 60s against the city's African American population, that does not mean individual taxpayers 20, 30, or 50 years later should be held responsible. McDonald stated that former members of Reparations Advisory Committee continue to meet informally to advocate for funding and to hold the city accountable for implementing border recommendations outlined in the report. Right? So that's something that is currently going on, at this moment in time. Wait, what you talking about, Tippy? You said what? You said corn? Who you talking about? Let me see. Let me go up. Somebody said reparations are not fair. If you think it is, you are an idiot. Wow, that's a little bit weird. Let me take a look back real quick. You said reparations are stupid, correct? Got you, no problem. Hold my beer for a quick second. Quick second. Let me just get this real quick. Let me see. Ooh, that typo is crazy. All right, so it seems that we got to go directly back over here again. Let's see, planters. All right, so there we go. So this is what we're going to do right here. Since you feel that reparations are stupid, let me just help you real quick. Right? I love it when people sit up there and pull up to the scene and say stuff like this. So let me just go back through history real quick. So let's see what this says, class. They said, yes, white slave owners received reparations from the United States government through the District of Columbia Emancipation Act of 1862, which paid up to $300 for each enslaved person freed. This compensated owners for the loss of property rather than the enslaved people, totaling over $930,000. to 3,100 owners. Key details regarding this and other forms of compensation included 1862 DC Compensated Emancipation Act. Following April 16th of 1862, white owners in DC received payments for freed enslaved people. Land reclamation. Post Civil War, President Andrew Johnson overturned 40-acre land grants to formerly enslaved people, returning that land to white planters. So, again, that's another form of reparations. The Homestead Act, 1862, while not explicitly framed as reparations, this act provided a 160-acre land grant to over a million white families, building generational wealth largely denied to Black Americans at the time. Next, other payments. White Americans have received various government payouts historically, such as for property destruction, or other specific federal actions, distinguishing them from the lack of reparations for slavery for Black Americans. So, how dumb again are reparations? How dumb again are reparations? I'm a little bit confused. So was it dumb when white people got reparations, or is it just dumb when people are like, all right, Black Americans, you're about to get reparations? So I'm a little bit confused because I could have sworn that when they dealt with the United States, people said that they believe in, equality, right? They believe in justice, but I guess the justice can only go so far. I guess the equality can only go so far. I guess the reparations, like when white people get reparations for having enslaved people and now they got a freedom, they be like, we'd have lost our free labor. I'm harmed. My white family is poor. Government, you got to give us money since we had to give back to Blacks. So I guess that's fine though, right? It's fine if white folks get reparations. But it's not fine for, like I said, who was that person? Cole, I need you to pop back up because you was talking real loud in the comment section talking about reparations is stupid, and you can read directly in front of you how white folks were able to get reparations. And on top of that, y'all were able to sit up there and get land. I could have sworn back in the day after being free, Black people were able to, we were supposed to get 60 acres and a mule or something like that. That never happened. But a lot of y'all families, y'all sitting on generations of land that originally did actually go to Black people, but it was overturned and given to y'all for no reason. And y'all sit up there and say that, y'all pulled it all by your bootstraps and this, that, and the third. Y'all were getting handouts. After the slaves were free, why didn't y'all just go out there and find some jobs? Why did you need the government to supplement whatever it is that you quote unquote lost that you shouldn't have had in the first place? That's some wild work. That's some diabolical work. So like I said, shout out if any white trolls are directly in the comment section, read it and weep. Y'all sat up there and got reparations. But now when it's time for Black people, you're like, nobody was even alive during that time. No, nobody today was even in existence. None of y'all are slaves. Why am I going to sit up there and give my tax dollars directly to y'all? I mean, what's the difference? Y'all been giving billions of dollars to immigrants. What's the difference? What's the difference? Y'all been giving billions of dollars. Don't matter if you sit up there and vote Republican or Democrat. Y'all been giving billions of dollars to immigrants here in the United States, but y'all don't want to sit up and give one red cent to Black Americans for the injustices that we have suffered at the hands of your government and your people. That's some crazy work. That's some diabolical work. I'm still waiting. Where's Cole at? Where you at? Where you at? Because you got real silent. You got real silent after this just popped up on the screen. That's weird. That's some crazy work. I guess you must have thought that this was like a pre-recorded video. That's some wild work right there. I keep telling y'all. I keep trying to tell you. Y'all just keep trying. Let me tell you something. That is some wild work. Like I said, y'all were the first ones to get Social Security and all of that. Like I said, the government made sure to sit up there and give y'all some type of handouts. They weren't going to sit up there and let y'all starve. Y'all were the first ones getting welfare. Y'all were the first ones getting Social Security. Y'all were the first ones getting reparations. Y'all getting handouts everywhere. And y'all sitting up there complaining that somebody else is potentially going to get their just dues. Oh, but y'all sit up there and say that y'all liberals out here, or that y'all are, conservative and fair Republicans, and that, you believe everybody is everybody and people are equal and all this. Like I said, miss me with all of that, man. And then a lot of y'all always try to put yourselves up as Christians. Woo! And y'all say, I'm a demon. Ooh, boy. Let me tell you. Y'all be sitting up there sweating like a streetwalker in church. Let me tell you. Y'all got some nerve. Y'all got some nerve. Let me tell you. Mm-mm-mm. Wait, what happened? D Love said, go seek reparations from Portugal. Wait. Who said something about Portugal? Let me go back up. Let me see what happened. Let me see this real quick. Somebody said my ancestors were slaves in Portugal, Spain when the Moors sailed across Africa and brought the Islam and never got rubber. So go deal with those folks. What does that have to do with me? I'm Black American. I don't got nothing to do with your people. So what you bringing that to my doorstep for? You go talk to Spain, go talk to Portugal, whoever you need to sit up there and talk to over there in Europe. Go talk to those folks. Don't be bringing that to me. You're not going to get no tiny violin here. I drink tears. We drink tears over here. Don't do that. Don't do that to yourself here. Do not do that to yourself here, because I'm not going to sit up there and feel sorry. Black Americans got their own fight to sit up there and fight. Everybody else can go battle whoever it is that they got to sit up there and battle. Do not sit up there and bring whatever slavery, whatever y'all went through. Don't bring that to our doorstep. Don't try to put your problems directly on our plate, because you can't handle and specifically deal with that. You need the energy of other people in order to push and propel stuff forward. Like I said, this is why Black Americans have stepped directly back when they dealt with protesting and everything else. Because y'all always set up there and pull up to the scene, and y'all either ignored us, y'all misused us, y'all have mistreated us, y'all have, said a lot of racist things directly to us, and we've always sat up there and just tried to be friends. We've tried to turn the other cheek. We've tried to do what is best for everybody, but nobody wanted to do ever what is best for us. So I'm like, this is why a lot of y'all are directly on your own. So again, don't sit up there and bring this problem directly to my doorstep. I do not care. I'm just going to be honest with you. I do not care. You said that your ancestors are in Portugal and all that. I do not care. I do not care. I can just be as honest as I can sit up there and be, so that you can clearly get the point. I am not shedding no tears. I'm not sharing no empathy or no sympathy. That is your problem. Those are your ancestors. Those are your people. I'm not going to sit up there and bring what my people went through directly to your doorstep. You can't do anything for me. You from a whole nother group, whole nother country. You cannot do nothing for me here in these United States. So like I said, y'all better figure that out. Y'all better sit up there and figure that out real quick, fast, and in a hurry. And if you want to sit up there and figure it out, then go read up some history on Black Americans, and specifically what it is that we have done, how it is that we have talked and stood directly against the United States government, and learn directly from that. And also learn from the outcomes that have specifically happened. Case in point, look at the Black Panther Party. Like I said, that's some crazy work. But going back to what I said up there and said before, when it deals with the whole thing of reparations, because I think I saw somebody else talking about something about Black people and reparations. The main point that I'm sitting up there saying is this, is that every other group that is here in these United States have gotten a form of reparations, even as recently as I think it was like 20, when it was around Stop the Asian Hate. I gave you guys a video where I think somewhere in New York, or it might have been California, the Asian community got about $50 million in a form of reparations to help out their community, to sit up there and build schools and businesses. You got other groups. You got the Native Americans. They got forms of reparations by way of their casinos, by way of different lands directly out there. I think even in the, somebody take this. Let me go back. Let me see, because I don't want to sit up there and speak on this. Did the Japanese get? Okay, so I wanted to make sure. Let me see. Okay, because I was going to bring up the Japanese. So this is what they basically got for that. So the Japanese, the United States did not pay reparations to the nation of Japan for World War II, but it did provide a monetary reparations and a formal apology to the Japanese Americans incarcerated during the. So technically, yeah, the Japanese Americans minus the whole of Japan. Because that's what I was looking for. I was looking for when it dealt with the internment camps, because the Asian Americans, meaning the Japanese and the Chinese, were the main two Asian groups that were in internment camps in these United States, and that was over there in California. I also did a video directly back on that. So, with the information that I have, they said that monetary reparations and a formal apology to Japanese Americans incarcerated during the war under Civil Liberties Act of 1988, which was a significant redress to redress the movement. Japan, in turn, made war reparations to other allied nations, and the United States waived claims against Japan. So, yeah. And during that time, the United States government forcibly removed and incarcerated approximately 120,000 peoples of Japanese descent, mostly United States citizens, in internment camps during World War II. They had the payments. They said that the act provided a form of apology and $20,000 in reparations to each surviving Japanese American who had been incarcerated, acknowledging the seriousness and the injustices that they suffered. So even the Japanese, when the United States put them in internment camps on U.S. soil, got reparations. Native Americans, reparations. Asian Americans during a point in time of Stop the Asian Hate, reparations. Many other groups, a form of reparations. The only group out here that has not received a form of reparations are Black Americans. And y'all got a problem with Black Americans getting anything. But yet again, for anybody who is white, I don't care if you're Democrat or Republican, y'all been sending money over to other countries for no reason. I'm talking about hundreds of billions of dollars that could have stayed in the United States. Y'all would have rather send that to other countries and go broke versus giving that to Black Americans. You would rather sit up there and give money to immigrants who ain't put nothing into this country versus giving money to United States citizens, aka Black Americans. If y'all don't understand how jacked up y'all are, I don't know what else I don't know what else to sit up there and tell you. Like, do y'all not realize that if we get money, we're going to spend it here in the United States? We're going to build up here in the United States. We're going to buy homes and cars. All of that money is going to go right back into the economy, which is better for the economy. It's good for the local economy and then the economy outside of that. But y'all are so stupid and still racist that y'all don't even want to do that. Jesus Christ. Like, it's crazy out here. It's wild out here. Like it makes no type of sense out here. But like I said, y'all got it. So this is why y'all now have an immigration problem. This is now why in a multitude of states, you guys are worried about Islam and Sharia law coming directly into the United States, because you would rather have and allow other people to be here versus boosting up the people that you have held down for so long. So now you guys are going to suffer the consequences for your own choices and decisions. So good luck to that. Good luck to that. And for a lot of the white folks out there that are so worried about the population, you guys are the main reason why your population is lopsided at this moment in time. Because again, you guys have open borders. You allowed everybody from around the world to come here. You allowed everybody to sit up there and consistently reproduce and have and outpace you in having kids. You've allowed all of this to sit up there and take place. I done seen multiple white American men complaining about the fact that it is very difficult for them to sit up there and get a standard issue job because they got immigrants coming directly over there and they're able to undercut them and basically work that exact same job for less. Now, I can sit up there and say that that is vastly unfair. I feel like people in the United States should get their fair share. Nobody should be able to undercut somebody else. If you are able to do the job, then there should be a certain test that you do to show that you are capable of doing the job and how efficient you are in doing that job. But that's not the society that we live in. It's first come, first serve. And as which I've stated before, when it deals with white Americans, the United States government does not care about you because they would rather outsource these jobs to other people where they got to pay less. They don't got to worry about an insurance premium or any of these other things. They don't got to worry about people taking vacations. They don't got to worry about their families. They don't even got to worry about their lives. They would rather put those people directly there versus giving you the job. But yet, people don't want to pay attention. It's crazy work. That is diabolical. And we still got brand new. We got some Johnny Come Latelys directly in here. He said, reparations for what? Your bad decisions? Why should we, my family from great 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 grandparents that came in 1834 and no credible info for owning slaves, the fictional Mr. Wellman who went to the Bermuda fake? Like I said before, the main thing I love about comments like this is that even at times when I could show proof of why it is that Black Americans should receive reparations because of the injustices that they suffer, I still have fools like this that pull directly up. And this is why I calmly state this is why your population is dwindling. And not just here in the United States, but wherever you have pretty much touched ground. Because at this moment in time, as we all know, you can't even properly stand the sun. And that's not me making up anything. That is just basic everyday fact. The sun, the planet is getting hotter. If you don't believe what it is that I'm saying, look up Bill Gates. And it was a story that I did about roughly close to 4 years ago, where Bill Gates stated that he wanted to come through with a plan in order to cool the planet because it's getting too hot. And my question mainly was that who is it getting too hot for? Because for me, if it gets hotter or it's sunnier outside, my melanin is going to is going to kick in. I'm just going to get darker. I'm going to adapt. That's what normally happens. Now, for other people out there that's not so lucky, like I said, you got to talk to God about that. It's going to be a whole different situation. This is why you got fields of people going through skin cancer. I've never in my life ever had to, sun dipping or bathing. I never had to worry about skin cancer. But there's a nice amount of folks in the United States that do have to worry about that. So you got to worry about the sun heating up. You have to deal with population control. You have to deal with other folks coming directly in here and outpopulating you. You have to deal with the chemicals that are being put in your food, air, and in your water. You also have to, deal with certain electronical devices, giving off, certain things as well that can impede on health and reproduction. And you got your government that's really not caring because they're like, at the end of the day, they're still going to make money hand over foot. It doesn't matter if you're alive. It doesn't matter if you're not. They're still going to sit up there and make money while you're still going to be debating. Or if, whatever happens, your son or your family, whoever, they're going to be the next ones in line sitting up there taking the exact same stance that you're taking while everything that I listed is still going on and you're still not doing nothing about it, nor are you facing that problem or those challenges. But yet you're here, though. But yet you're here. Let me just repeat one more time. It doesn't matter if you're Republican. It doesn't matter if you're Democrat. Two wings are part of the exact same bird. The United States government does not care. Y'all keep bringing up this whole thing. Oh, but the Republicans, we didn't sit up there. We were trying to end the slavery thing and rah, rah, rah. The whole main thing is the United States as a whole profited off of slavery. I don't care if it was the North or the South. I don't care if it was Republican or Democrat. All of the whole of the United States profited off of slavery. Like I said, people are just like missing the whole point. And it goes back to what I said before. The United States government does not care. And I'm going to repeat this again. Whatever slavery took place in the past is going to take place in the present. So when I sit up there and I told people before, look up those ACH accounts, go sit up there and figure out and track down. Where's my wallet at real quick? Because I gotta keep doing like a refresher course directly over this again. For anybody who got a social security card, go look at your social security card. For any guys out there, if you got a wallet, because you should be able to access your social security. Get your social security card, flip that boy to the back, and look at the let me see, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. Look at the 8 numbers on the back in the very first letter. Go look that up and figure out what that is attached to. Figure out what that's attached to, because a lot of people want to sit up there and say like, oh, this is just a crazy person, conspiracy theorist, and not really saying nothing, a whole bunch of nothing. Go look that up. Social security card, Go look up those numbers in that letter. Go find out what that's actually attached to, and then figure out what that's attached to, and then go figure out where to put in those numbers that are on the front of your social security card, and then figure out what that's attached to. Like I said, it's crazy work directly out here where you got a lot of stuff that, as people like to sit up there and say that a lot of this is how dumb that the government thinks that everybody is, that they will hide information directly in plain sight. You will literally have the information that you need in order to find stuff, but because it's in plain sight, we're thinking that, oh, it's just nothing. People think that the real secret information is the stuff that you got to sit up there and like really dig deep and dive for and die. No, you don't. No, you don't. Like, let me go back to the main thing that I love sitting up there talking about, because I like when people call me crazy. Let me see. Let me just get this picture, because this is now archaic at this moment in time. Wait, is that the one right there? Yeah, I love that one. Yeah, let me just get this picture directly up there. I want to see if people know. Some people will know what this is. And some people long enough, they already know what I might just bring up a picture of. But if not, let me just give you a refresher course, right? Because I'm a crazy type of person. Let's read what this slab of rock basically says. They said you are basically to maintain humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature. Now the question is, if we have, right, and again, this ain't the Sci-Fi Channel. This ain't the Outer Limits, the Twilight Zone, right? This was a part of reality at one moment in time before it was destroyed, right? This was, and again, like I said before, it don't matter if you're Democrat or Republican. It don't matter what side of the government that you're on. They're on this side. Both parties that you're talking about, they're on this side. If you got about 8 to 9 billion people on this planet, and you got a stone slab sitting up there telling you that humanity should be no more or less than 500 million, who do you think that they're talking to? They're not talking to you. They're not talking to me. Who they talking to? Says I'm crazy though, right? Like, yo, this is wild. Let me just get a bigger scope of this, right? Because I'm crazy. I'm just a conspiracy theorist, a person just talking directly up here, just blabbering, right? So just in case where people don't know, this is the Georgia Stone. So let's see what Kyle said. He said, when are you racist losers going to get over this stuff? Move on. The past is the past. Y'all never mention anything about your own people selling you out. You know, the craziest part is there have always been conversations about how slavery took place and who was selling who. I guess you're just not privy because you're not in those circles, or you choose not to look up that information so that you can change your point of view and stop writing the same thing that a lot of y'all like to sit up there and repeat, because y'all think that saying that is some type of gotcha moment. It's not. It's not. And that's directly who's this dude directly, and that's directly to the Kyle guy. Like, dog, I'm literally putting something directly in front of you, and you're still talking about something dealing with reparations and slavery. I'm telling you something that was within this timeline, that you're old enough that I know that you know about the Georgia Stone, and you're still going off about something else. This is what I'm talking about. Like, y'all are so deaf, dumb, and stupid that you don't even pay attention to the information that is directly in front of you because you're emotionally imbalanced. Like, that's crazy to me. That is 100% crazy to me. Like I said, you're looking at the fact that the government allowed this to be directly up there, and it's telling you what the world's population is supposed to be, and you're still sitting up there going off on some stuff that I was talking about 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes ago. Like, dog, where are you at right now? So again, to the rest of the white folks up here, like I said before, this is why you have Black Americans at this moment in time not saying nothing to y'all, because y'all hard-headed. Y'all don't want to listen. Y'all don't want to pay attention. And this is just simple stuff. This is just simple stuff. Like, this is crazy. Yeah, you gotta be AI. No problem. Like I said, it's not even fun having you here because you're not adding into the conversation. Kyle is out of here. Like I said, I keep telling people it's early in the morning at this moment. Yeah, it's still morning time. It's 11:30. I ain't even had my coffee. I don't got no patience. Like I said, if you're going to sit up there and repeat something, at least add something to the conversation. You just running your mouth and going on about all this other type of stuff. Like what? Like that's wild. Like that is some wild stuff. Let me see. Who else? Let me see. D Love said, thank you, Sergi. I got you. No problem. Tippy said, why does it bother white people so much that black people talk about reparations? I don't know. When I clearly show that white people got reparations, like I said, the dude Kyle, he didn't have nothing to say about that. He didn't have nothing to say when I mentioned the fact that white people were receiving reparations a multitude of ways. It doesn't matter if it was, them getting, money back for the slaves that they had to get rid of. They were also getting reparations in the form of injured slaves, or they were getting reparations in the form of land that was not even belonging to them. But, due to a president at the time, overturned, whatever rules or laws or regulations that were going on during the time that gave the land to the black folks, and they gave it directly to white people for no reason. Something that they didn't even sit up there and earn, something that was not even theirs. So, like I said, it's crazy. Like I said, you literally had a stone up here that told you it spoke. It had things written in, I think, in quite a few languages, and it tells you that the population is to be no more or less than 500 million people. How would you get the population, the world's population, to exactly 500 million? So again, shout out to the trolls because I know you're not going to sit up there and have an answer for this question because you're either bots, AI, Chat GPT, or all of the above. Or if you are an actual person, you just don't have the common sense to actually pay attention to what is specifically happening. And you're probably going to sit up and say like, "Oh, this is AI. There was no such thing as the Georgia Stone. That didn't exist. That's just a conspiracy. That's the Democrats invented that." Like I said, for a lot of you white folks directly out there, Democrat or Republican, this is what you voted for. You voted for the rich to basically enslave you and to make sure that the population was going to go down to this. So, like I said, you're going to get exactly what it is that you wanted, one way or another. And I will be right here to sit up there and report on every single detail, as I normally do, on whatever platform that is in existence, at that moment in time. Because y'all don't want to listen. Somebody said, do give up. White folks on the Republican side did a lot to free the slaves and give them rights and the ability to defend themselves with firearms. But this is what I'm sitting up there saying is that it's crazy to me that people want to. We know that both on the left and the right, meaning Democrat and Republican, both of those sides are white, correct? We know that they were European descendants, pagans, Christians, right? Catholics. But for whatever reason, when it deals with this specific conversation of slavery, white people are like, "Oh no, we were just Republicans. We weren't even white or any. We were just. It was the left or it was the right. It wasn't anything else." It's crazy how you guys want to separate yourselves when it deals with certain topics and conversations historically, but when it deals with everything else, everybody's, "Oh, we're all Americans." When it deals with slavery, y'all want to be like, "Oh no, we were on a lot of us, 99.9% of whites, we were on the Republican side. We freed you guys. It was the Democrats that was the problem." But when it deals with everything else, you guys don't know we're all American. No matter, we all bleed the same. We all wave the flag. We all love and care about this country. We're patriotic. We're all American. That's crazy how that works. It's crazy how y'all just like flip that. That's some that's very interesting. I like it though. It's pretty dope. You know. The crazy part is, I think you missed the part where we had quote unquote reparations and DEI. But the craziest part is other groups such as white women were actually getting a lot more from DEI and affirmative action than Black Americans. This is why, like I said in previous live streams, Asian Americans who thought that they were just the biggest deal, their population dropped when they dealt with a lot of these colleges. Oops. I wonder why. You know why? Because Asian Americans like, yeah, we need to get rid of this DEI. We need to get rid of this affirmative action. The blacks are taking up seats from everybody else that the seats should actually go to, and all to find out that the Asian Americans were actually profiting from all of this, and now they're trying to go back and sue those colleges so they can get back in there. Oops. And also shout out to the white women too, because y'all were the main ones that were actually profiting from affirmative action and everything like that. This is how a lot of white women were able to hold a lot of corporate jobs, a lot of high paying jobs. And now, slowly but surely, because of this administration, they're making sure to sweep you guys directly out of corporate gigs. Color me surprised. People vote against their own best interest because they think that the bottom line is always going to hurt Black Americans the most, and it's going to hit us the hardest. Oops. Like I said, I love it. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing to sit up there and watch people hurt themselves. It is a very beautiful thing. Kane said only Black Americans want to be known by their skin color. I mean, we say Black American. I don't see what's the issue though. I mean, people are able to sit up there and say whatever it is that they. So when it was African American, y'all didn't. I guess y'all didn't have a problem, right? But because I say Black American, that's the thing that sticks out. That's the part that's a problem. I'm a little bit confused. Like how specifically does that work? How specifically does it? So African American doesn't grind your gears, but if we say Black American, that's an issue. Okay, you got it. You had a lot of, historically speaking, you had some Black people that did have slaves, which is true, but a lot of those that had slaves, they either got those slaves because the slave master died and he left the plantation to one of, quote unquote, one of the ones that he loved, quote unquote. Or you also had Black people that had to buy back their own people. So in order for them to do that, they had to, in a sense, own slaves in order to buy back their family and things of that nature. But see, that's something that a lot of you guys would not actually understand because you never had to go through that. You don't have a history of having to sit up there and search across country for your family because they were torn apart and taken directly from you and sold to another plantation across the United States. And you had to do whatever it was possible or feasible in order for you to get them back. So like I said, I understand why you guys sit up there and start complaining whenever you hear live streams or you're on, Black American channels and we're talking like this because you don't have a history of this ever happening to you. So yeah, it's to be expected. Let's see here. Y'all still going on about the Democrats or the Republicans. Let's see here. The craziest part, this is how I know that a lot of folks are white. Because for whatever reason, the only thing that y'all have to lean back on is that y'all want to keep bringing up BLM. And the craziest part is, even during the time you had Black folks calling out a lot of stuff, I was one of them. Even on my own platform, I made quite a few videos. I showed off a lot of stuff. And I even showed the original mission statement and I showed the rewritten mission statement. But for whatever reason, you guys don't have anything else to go off of, because if this was like the 90s, if this was like the 80s, 90s, early 2000s, y'all would be trying to bring up the Black Panther Party because, again, y'all would not have anything else to go after. So since y'all done evolved past the Black Panther Party and y'all demonization of that, y'all then went to like BLM. And this is going to be your staying point up until something else comes up. And then you're going to move on to that one. And y'all going to bring that up for like the next, 10 to 15, 20 years. Like I said, that doesn't even make any type of sense. But like I said before, this is what it looks like when ignorance strikes and people tend not to sit up there and do any type of research when it deals with Black people. And these are the same people that normally don't even have Black friends, are not even around Black people at all. So this is why they get online and they start talking all freely, just like you're able to see directly in front of you. It's like, oh, but BLM and all this other type. Y'all say the same retired type of line every single time. And it's crazy to me. Y'all got nothing else. Y'all can't list no other groups directly out there. Like that is wild. And like I said before, I literally listen stuff. You got something directly in front of you, and the main thing that you're like, oh, but BLM, 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 BLM. You see this directly in front of you, and you're focused on something from back during what, like the pandemic? You guys are not as smart as you normally say. Let me tell you something. That's crazy. That is diabolical. Mm, mm, mm. Somebody said this is so stupid. Another person said Black Americans are the richest blacks in the world. What are you complaining about? And black people sold other black people. Again, y'all coming through with the exact same tire point. This is something that's been covered in a lot of different places and areas. Y'all have nothing else at all. And it still doesn't get past the part of still Black Americans deserve Matter of fact, let me just get off the Georgia Stone. Do I still have the what's the name directly up there? Let me just keep that up there because y'all want to keep talking about this whole thing with slavery. Because obviously reading and comprehension seems not to be, you guys' key type of thing here. So let me just keep that directly in front of you. I shouldn't even have to read it out again. Because like I said, it's crazy that I can leave this directly on screen for about probably 15 to 20 minutes and y'all still come up here talking about some whole other type of stuff like, oh, y'all don't deserve reparations. Oh, that was generations ago. Who amongst you right now were slaves back then? Oh, black people aren't. No, but white people were able to get reparations and they're still living off of those reparations in the form of land, which ends up becoming generational wealth. Because what can you do with land, people? You can sit up there and sell parts of it, sell it, in its totality. You could look underground and maybe find some oil or some mineral resources. You could sit up there and lease it out for 30, 40, 50 years. You can do a variety of things with land. But, like I said, it'd be like that. People don't want to pay attention. People do not want to pay attention. Mm-mm-mm. That is crazy. Let me see how long you've been here. Let me see. So this person said, hey, you finna reap what you sow, big dog, plantation or not. I mean, I wish people would actually specify what they mean. Because if I can talk as direct as possible, it's crazy to me knowing that I'm dealing with, minus the whole bots and the AI and chat GPT. It's crazy to know that I'm dealing with like adults and people won't be specific, right? I'm specific enough where people want to read whatever they want to read into it and either call me a demon or they want to call me a racist or xenophobic or whatever comes across their mind because emotionally they feel a certain type of way about the words that I use or what it is specifically that I'm speaking on. Like I said, it's crazy to me. Third, I said, white people created the BLM organization. You said, what's my take on the Somalis? I covered that. I've been covering those videos for what about like 2 weeks? It was what, like December to January or something like that. For quite a while. I didn't cover all those videos. And again, like I said before, for the Minnesota folks directly up there, you allowed this to happen. You allowed it to happen. The government, they allowed it to happen. This is why I keep trying to implement and reinstate that it doesn't matter for the white folks out there. The United States government allowed this to happen. They allowed it to happen. They allowed it to happen. I don't care if it's Democrat. I don't care if it's Republican. They're all rich. They do not care about you. They have money. They do not care about you. They will enslave you. They do not care about you. They will feed you trash. They will feed your kids trash. They will make sure your water is poisoned. They do not care about you. They do not care about you. They do not care about you. But like I said, a lot of y'all are, are deaf, dumb, and stupid and don't want to pay attention. Don't want to listen. You said you are the reason that fatigue is real. No one cares. You know, the funniest thing about the whole fatigue thing is that a black woman wrote a book, and she was the one that actually coined the phrase. And for whatever reason, whatever a Republican or conservative caught on to it, literally co-opted and stole the word and used it in order to say something against black Americans. Because y'all choose not to do any research and you seemingly can't come up with your own terminology. That's some crazy work. But like I said, y'all keep using the word that a black woman came up with. Good job. Y'all got it though. Y'all got it. You said crying about being privileged. That's wild. I'm trying to figure out what is black privilege. And please don't sit up there and get on here and say like, "Oh, black privilege is you being racist towards white people." How can I ever impede as a black American man? How can I ever impede on a white family? How can I stop you from being a family? How can I drag you out of your houses? How can I perform any type of police brutality or use laws, rules, and regulations against your family, stopping your kids from going to a certain school because their hair is blonde? Or because of how it is that they are like I said, you got to be very specific with me. You got to let me know as a black American, what laws do I have as a privileged black? What laws do I have that are enacted that can impede and stop white Americans in their totality at this moment? Because I'm racist. This dude said I'm Jewish because I'm using a voice changer. That is wild. That's the best you got. So let me get this straight. So let me get this straight. Right. So as soon as I sit up there and tell you that, yo, I'm going to put this information back up there on reparations because you wanted to rah 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 in the comment section. So now you switched it and you're like, no, actually, you're not even black American. I'm Jewish and I'm using a voice changer. And people say that I'm paranoid. People say that I'm a conspiracy theorist. This is the why I gotta take a picture of this one. I ain't never in my life. You are by far the first that has ever said that to me. Kudos to you. You just said something brand new. Gotta take a snapshot of that one. That has to go in the book. We're gonna put that in the rafters. I've never in my life heard such foolishness. I've never in my life heard such foolishness. Dear Lord. Dear Lord. That is crazy. Let me see. Let me see. Oh, that's cute though. You said come get your reparations, then you can pick your favorite tree. Oh, that's cute. That's cute. So, again, shout out to the white folks that like to be racist, but you're not the craziest part about y'all being racist is that in a lot of times y'all don't actually be full blown racist. You want to throw out some subtle type of racism and have people read in between the lines. That is some wild work directly out there. See, this is why I can't even respect you guys. Just to be real, like you guys at one point in time in history, you guys used to sit up there and actually put fear directly into people. Right, y'all had the whole hoods and all of that, the horses, right? Y'all were going deep through, the woods and coming down to like black towns and cities and houses and causing all types of terror destruction. And now look at you. Now look at you. Now your racism is just pretty much online. No more, burning down homes and crosses and doing your normal drive-bys and horses and white sheets. No, 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 no more of that. It's just mostly a lazy boy, a cell phone, a computer, or a tablet. It's not even the same anymore. It doesn't even really strike fear as it used to. I pity you, actually. Like I said, historically, people were actually scared of you. Now, no. like I said, and then on top of that, you guys say comments like this, and you think that it's going to get black people to act a certain type of way. No, we don't even really care anymore because whatever. It's like this is nothing. Y'all been saying the exact same thing for how long now? Lord knows. It's just rinse, wash, and repeat. Why get angry when you know that they're just going to repeat the exact same thing? So the most you can basically do is just like laugh at it because it's like whatever. Like I said, that's another good one right there. I'll sit up there and take a nifty little snapshot of that. Like I said, racism is alive, full and well. So shout out to the white people that's directly in the comment section, and you can clearly see this comment. And y'all wonder why it is that black people talk about reparations, and we repeatedly talk about history. And then shout out to the other white folks out there that was like, oh, why are you always focused on color? And yeah, it's funny how when your folks pull up to the scene saying stuff like this, y'all go incognito. Y'all nowhere to be seen. It's crazy. It's crazy. I'll just sit back. That's some wild work. Let me see. Still talking about who deserves reparations or not. What else do we got? I'm trying to find some interesting comments here. What else? What else? He said Seji is an idiot. Oh, okay. Looking for, like I said, the comments are not even. It's not even riveting. It's not even really drawn out any type of emotion there. I really thought you guys would pull up better. You know, it's some crazy work. Wait, let me just make sure to sit up there and just start that comment. I don't want to miss that one directly up there. And then let me. Somebody said it makes sense if he's using a voice changer. I love it. That is beautiful. That is beautiful. Let me see. Do. I did see somebody else down here. So you said BLM stands for Baal, Lucifer, and Moloch. I mean, I'm just trying to figure like what is that supposed to do? Like you saying that, like what is that supposed to like incite for me emotionally? Because the craziest part is these were never guys that I ever believed in. Um, and I learned about a lot of those deities and the people that believed in them and the people that still believe in them to this day. Um, like I said, if you ever shopped at any of these expensive stores, like Balenciaga, BAAL, if you look directly, again, I covered this stuff directly on some live streams, and I did a whole hour plus on a live stream directly on a lot of the information. But if you go to any of these high price stores, white Americans, one way or another, you are accepting that deity and you are giving offerings to that deity one way or another, either whether if you know it or not. So, like I said before, I mean, I guess, you know, let's see what else do we have here. The Democrats have nothing better to do but to complain about Trump, and anything and everything is his fault. And TDS brainwashing is literally everywhere. Instead of getting their own facts, they just complain. I'm really trying to sit up there and see some stuff here. Let me see. Black people should pay reparations. Wow, that's crazy. Black people should pay reparations. Huh, that's very interesting. How many white people have I ever enslaved? I'm trying to figure. I gotta ask my grandmother. She was born back in like 1930 something. I gotta ask if, I gotta try to figure out from my mom if we ever owned any white slaves or anything like that. That'll be pretty interesting though. That'll be some nice research. What else we got? What would black people get reparations? Have you worked through the logistics of it? First-hand disparities between urban and mostly black communities. Most white communities, black people have had paid reparations and more blood on their hands than elected patients. Somebody says sounds like a Democrat. Oh, let me see. What else do we got directly up here? 100 years. Anyone else sick of hearing the racist card being thrown around every video nowadays? Let me see. Somebody said don't care anymore, but that's all you talk about. I mean, actually, it's not. It's different depending on what live stream. Like I said, you weren't there for the previous live stream, so but people. I guess these people they actually do some research. Obviously not, because they would have actually not been stupid enough to leave a comment like this because they would have saw the last live stream. But it'd be like that. Not all of the same colors are the same people, meaning that not all Native Americans are the same as others. Just throwing that out there. Do. Luke said billionaires have taken all the factory work out of big cities in the East and moved it all overseas. Urban communities that depend on these jobs suffered and continue to suffer. You know what? Shout out to Luke. I might not have seen any of your other comments directly out here, but shout out to you for being one of the few that actually have some common sense and you actually understand what is specifically going on. And even within that comment, you can add in the fact that when those jobs get taken from urban communities, aka black communities, that causes a detrimental effect both in and around that community and also within the state as well too. The one thing that I always made sure to bring up, and I specifically pointed this to white Americans, is that I remember back in the 2000s watching Fox 2 News back in Detroit, and I was sitting there, and I remember Hugh Perkins, and he was sitting up there stating how about 2 to 5% of factory jobs are being outsourced, and that was the early 2000s. Look at where we are currently in 2026. Look at how many jobs are outsourced that you guys, I don't care if it's Democrat or Republican, all of you guys allowed that to happen. And again, I'm going to sit up and say all of you guys because, of course, I wasn't able to sit up there and vote. I wasn't able to sit up there and do anything. All I could do is actually watch as the adults that were around during that time allow the government to sit up there and take away jobs and money directly from you, shifting the class. So this is beyond all of the stuff that I talk about. This is how we got that class warfare where it's the rich versus the poor. Because my mom always tells me still to this day that more than likely during my time frame, my time period, my lifetime, that there's going to be no such thing as the middle class. And if you look at it at this current point, they've been slowly eroding away the middle class. And that deals again, let me just reiterate for the stupid in the back. That goes back to the Democrats and the Republicans. Again, they don't care. It's the government in general. The rich are only playing for what team? The rich. They don't care about the middle class or the poor because that's the slave class. But again, because a lot of people aren't there and because people don't want to focus on trying to just get over the hurdles that we currently have that are blocking the roadway to actually making it to the final boss, this is why we're still at ground level. This is why we're still having these conversations because you guys can't even move past your own pride and ego and just admit fault and just try to do a little bit of something so that we can just move this train forward instead of being stuck here. But like I said before, when one suffers, everybody suffers. And you guys are not going to see it or understand it up until it's too late. So just like you had, what was it, Renee Good? She went out there during that protest and she ended up losing her life. And you saw firsthand, everybody was able to see how the police will literally, and that was a white dude who did that to a white woman. So you saw your own people attack your own people. That's only the air around the iceberg. You're only a few steps away from the police and the military mobilizing and treating y'all like this in y'all suburbs, in your small towns, in your cities. But y'all don't understand it because in your minds, you think that the only people that are going to be heavily affected by this are the Democrat black-run cities. Yeah, that's where the crime and the drugs are. Yeah, bring the military and all the police, wipe away all the crime. You keep thinking that. Keep thinking that. Like I said, I done covered so many stories of police breaking directly into y'all homes. They sitting up there trampling directly over your rights, even though a lot of y'all voted to give over your rights. Shout out to the Patriot Act due to 9/11. But yeah, like I said, y'all not going to learn up until y'all made to learn. So it's all right. Here we go. What was that? What was that? I'm so sick of seeing blacks. Like I said, for the white dudes out here, it used to be a point in time where you guys used to actually sit up there and write the N word directly in these live streams. Y'all don't even do that no more. Y'all don't even do that no more. So instead of that, y'all just like the blacks. This is what you guys have devolved into. That's crazy. That's some diabolical work. I love it though. Um Murphy said, sounds like his voice. Question mark. Skylar was like, why do y'all just delete comments that you don't agree with? Well, on this platform, when we sit up there and tell people, either to be cordial, be respectful, and don't jump stupid, we mean just that. If you happen to jump stupid, be disrespectful, and you're not cordial, you are just going to be blocked directly from the channel. Like I said, I highlighted a racist that came directly up here, but like I said, looking at the comments, magically, y'all just overlooked that. Y'all still talking about the exact same things and trying to question me. Oh, what about slavery? Why y'all talking about race? That's what I be talking about. White people just ignore other white people being racist. That's some wild work. Y'all don't call out nothing. Like I said, so miss me with all of that stuff where y'all be like, yo, but the ones in the north and other places, like you had abolitionists and you had like other people trying to sit up there and help free you and da 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 da. And like I said, you got white people that sit up there and ignore racism even when it's in their face. I literally highlighted it. It was subtle, but it was there. It was present. You can clearly sit up there and read English just like I can. But y'all don't care about that. Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah. Yep. Some of you guys are pairing together. Hookah and Skylar are pairing together to form Voltron. Look at this. Oh, look at the pairing of the Legion of Doom. Look at that. Let me see. Do. The craziest part is, I didn't delete any questions. So if it came to a point in time that somebody was just spamming some stuff, again, we at the height of certain stuff, we had over, like, matter of fact, let me just check something real quick, because I love when people start talking and they make it seem like I can see every single thing. Let me just check this real quick. So within this live stream, as it's been currently going, at least on this one side, there's been about 7,361 people. So there's been more than likely a lot of people that have been leaving comments. So I'm not going to sit up there and catch and see everything. But again, if people decided to sit up there and spam and we told them not to spam, you should not be too surprised if people are no longer here. It's very simple. I don't even have a lot of rules here. It's very simple rules. Very simple. But people choose to do whatever it is that they want to do. Dun, dun, dun. Somebody said they lost brain cells while being here. I mean, you could have just left. So, all right. So you said, well, I'm usually with you. You don't have to be. This is the thing. You don't have to agree with me. You can disagree, be impartial, whatever it is. I frankly, for me, I don't care. My main thing is this: when it deals with slavery here in these United States, I'm talking about here in these United States. I'm not worried or caring about another group because they're not Black American. It is not my job to sit up there and care about another group. It is not my job to talk about another group or to highlight another group. It is not my job to carry their history either. It's not my job to sympathize or empathize with the other group either, because nobody is going to specifically do that for Black Americans. Because the main thing that has always been stated to Black Americans is to shut up, stop playing victim, stop talking about the past, pull yourselves up by your bootstraps, and nobody cares. That's the main comments that I've been getting directly from this comment section. So miss me with the whole thing of sitting up there saying that everybody, slavery has happened to everybody. I don't care about everybody. That's me being honest. That's me being very direct. Like I sat up there and told people, I have no problem being honest and direct. It's everybody else that has that problem. If I can honestly tell you, even if we were face to face, I will honestly sit up there and tell you to your face, I do not care if other people have gone or are going specifically through this. I'm looking directly at my people first. After that is squared away and situated, then maybe then I can sit up there and have room to sit up there and care about what it is that other people are sitting up there going through. Because realistically, it is not my job to sit up there again to worry about and care about other people's history. It is not. Like everybody said, Seji, instead of saying Black American, why don't you just say American? Well, obviously, I got to differentiate, because I can sit up and say that I'm American, but then if I happen to talk about history, it's obviously going to be, partitioned, right? Because the history that I talk about is not something that everybody specifically faced. Case in point, let me just beat this whole thing like a dead horse. Going back to what the United States government specifically did to Black American towns and cities, and what is still currently happening in Black American towns and cities, especially by way of a lot of these factories releasing toxic smog directly into the air, causing problems and issues with Black Americans and their respiratory giving them respiratory issues on top of reproductive issues. So like I said before, I focus on directly what I focus on. I do not care if people agree with me. I don't need you to. You can agree with yourself. If you feel that your opinion is correct, you can directly agree with yourself. I do not need people to agree with me, because I can see and I can look directly at history and I can see what is currently going on at this moment in time. And that's another thing too, and that also proves how a lot of people are not so smart when it deals with social media. And I've covered this as well. So Mo has brought it directly to your attention that it might not even be anything dealing with the moderators, and it's not dealing anything with me. If you happen to type something and it catches the algorithm or whatever it is when it deals with Google, because if you're on a smartphone, it'll especially do that real quick, fast, in a hurry. I did a video about that. You can sit up there and write a comment. You can write something and it'll automatically get deleted. You think you posted it because you press enter, but it got section on my own platform from my cell phone. Again, I recorded it happening and I sat up there and posted about a 7-minute long video about it. So, like I said before, take it how you want to sit up there and take it. If you believe that we're fabricating, it is what it is. You want to just have to sit up there and move on. Like I said before, so just move on. The best bet for you is to just sit up there and move on. Just move directly on. Brandon V. World said the middle class is already gone. It be like that. If we clearly just explained what was directly going on, why would you be stupid enough? This is how I know that y'all don't even. Jesus Christ. Lord have mercy. This is what I be talking about. Like, people just do not pay attention. You said I'm a DACA recipient and I have a PhD in physics. Why? How did you get here? You're basically, so what? You should be what, like a physicist or something like that? Like you're in like the upper echelon of math. How are you down here? Like, this is what I keep saying. Like, this is why I can't take this stuff serious. You're not going to sit up there and tell me that you got like such a high education, but you're down here with everyday people and everyday conversation. That doesn't make sense. You should be sitting up there tracking stars. You should be looking at Atlas AI the third or something like that. Like, you should be tracking the 58th moon of Saturn or something. Like, dog, come on. You should be, working on, working with scientists to make the citadel for the rich or something. Like, come on now. Like, what are we doing here? Y'all got to move around with this foolishness. You got to move around with this foolishness. Like I said, I just do not. I can't take y'all serious. Like, I've also made $2 million in America and came here when I was 5 years old. Oh, I know you trolling. That we got some straight bots directly in here today. That was funny though. That is funny. Oh, is that even English? You said find this man a his own planet. Sounds like he's ready to be God over his own people who only look like him and agree with him. Yeah, you're a bot. You're a bot. Yeah, we got straight bots directly. I love it though. For entertainment purposes, what else we got directly here? I'm just trying to go directly through. Like the Koreans who own people for 1,500 years. Why do people still believe that there's a real difference between Democrat and Republican, two sides? Yeah, like I said, that's what we're trying to tell people. Let me see. Again, calling me a racist. Okay. You said if you have a job, you're a slave. He owns you until you clock out. Keep scrolling directly through. Somebody's still talking about slaves owned by the 1%. Okay, that's great. Brandy B. World, shout out for the $2 dono. You said can't lose what you never had. Brain cell guys. Yo, let me tell you, it be like that. It 100% be like that. Third Eye said he got a degree in trailer park physics. Yo, that's crazy. Devon said, well, educated doesn't mean you're smart, Mr. PhD. Oh, people getting grilled. Let me see. We got another clown directly in there. Let's see. Dun dun dun. All right, anyways, so now we're going to continue with our regular scheduled program since the trolls are now dwindling down for various reasons. So let me go find these videos. So now let's go to the next one.
Recent remarks from the Trump administration emphasizing stricter immigration enforcement have coincided with renewed efforts by Somali advocacy groups to establish an official Somali Heritage Month in June. Organizers cite cultural recognition and demographic growth as the basis for the proposal, though the timing has generated controversy because June already includes Juneteenth, a federally recognized observance, marking the end of chattel slavery in the United States. And then Juneteenth, wasn't like last year or 2 years ago the first time it was actually celebrated? And y'all trying to settle like dust or scum. You're trying to settle on an already established holiday.
Yeah. So to the Black Americans out there, this is what we're currently dealing with. This is why, again, I've stayed directly on the Somalians for a nice amount of time because they think it's all fun and games. So out of all the months that we got throughout the year, you decide that it's like, we're going to sit up there and make a June Somali month. What? Huh? How do we even get here? Y'all haven't even been here for nothing. Y'all haven't even done nothing. And then you're like, yeah, we deserve our own month. For what? Historically speaking, what have you done? Where have you been? What have you fought for? Nothing, and nothing. But then you're trying to shoehorn your way into something that was already established for us historically because of what went down. Crazy work. Crazy work. And also shout out to Brandon V. World. He said they are handing out PhDs to anybody these days, huh? That's some wild work.
Yep. Then wonder why folks don't want you around. Critics argue that positioning a newly proposed Heritage Month alongside Juneteenth risks overshadowing a commemoration rooted in centuries of enslavement, segregation, and civil rights struggle experienced by a population whose presence in the country predates modern immigration systems. They note that Juneteenth is not a generic cultural celebration, but a historical marker tied directly to the formation of American law, labor, and identity. Law, labor, and identity, none of which has anything to do with a foreign country, aka Somalia. All right. So, it continues. Several non-immigrant descendant Black American commentators, scholars, and community leaders have publicly pushed back, questioning both the timing and the framing of the proposal. Some have emphasized that recognition should not come at the expense of an existing federal observance, while others have called for clearer distinction between immigrant heritage celebrations and foundational American historical events. All right. Somali organizers maintain that their proposal is not intended to jeopardize or diminish Juneteenth, but the debate has underscored ongoing tensions around recognition, historical precedents, and how cultural observances are added to an already crowded national calendar. Now, here's the funny part. Now that they in trouble, they coming out talking about they Black. I'm Black. Ilhan Amo. Yeah, we Black people been being up. So if you Black, what you need a Somali Heritage Month for? You already got Juneteenth.
Bars.
What's wrong with y'all? Oh, that's right. Inbreeds with an average IQ of 67. I don't need to make stuff up. The truth defends itself.
Like I said, and that's further proof. This is why delineation has to take place and happen, because you have a lot of disrespectful folks out here, and they think that they can just come directly in and they can do whatever, and they can just step directly on and over Black Americans. And again, like I said before, a lot of these folks would never even be in this country if it wasn't for Black Americans, because of the blood, sweat, and tears and the sacrifice that we specifically went through. Everything that we had to sit up there and face, everything that we fought for. Like I said, you're dealing with a bunch of ungrateful folks directly out here that think everything is just a one big game. And again, this is the disrespect. Out of all of the months that you could have went for, you decided to go for June. Gotcha. Let's continue.
The Conservative Party right now, what are they doing is illegal migration. And I have many videos talking about how when you allow millions of people who are not, classically educated, right? They don't have a degree from something. When they come in, the jobs that they take are blue collar jobs. I have multiple members of my family that have criminal records. They need blue collar jobs. If you look at the results of the mass deportation acts, Black men are getting jobs in trucking. They're getting jobs in home improvement. They're getting jobs in moving and storage. This is a fact that was direct. And I just was talking to her about this outside. They are taking low cost rental apartments. I'm a real estate agent. I did the math on this. In New York City, I'm in New York City. There are 100,000 homeless people in New York City. There are 600,000 illegal migrants in New York City. There's 20% of the illegal migrants are living in apartments, right? So that's, if you do those quick numbers, that's 120,000 or 120,000 apartments being taken up that could be going to the 100,000 homeless people. And of the homeless people, 60% of them are illegal migrants. So the reality is we need to talk about this and how that sector of the population coming here is affecting especially low income Black people. Also, abortion needs to be mentioned, because the reality is as we abort more of our Black babies, we become or keep staying a lower minority in this country. There are somewhere around 400,000 Black babies aborted every year, not just babies. There's 1 million abortions every year. There's 400,000 Black babies aborted every year. Black people only make up 13% of the entire U.S. population. So if we kept 1 million people every 2 years, we would literally stop being a minority in this country in the course of 10 years.
Yep. That woman did not miss. She did not miss at all. And she was especially Let me see if I can find it. She was talking directly to the still face right there. You can look at the look on her face. She wasn't trying to hear none of that. She don't care nothing about what Black Americans have to face or go through. Why? Because she is specifically here to take. And I gave a video directly on that before, where it was an African woman that specifically stated that Africans are here. They wherever they go around the world, they're here to take. They're not here to build. They're not here to have an amalgamation. They're not here to assimilate. They're not here to be beneficial. They're not here to have a cohesive bond. They're here to take. And if they can't take anymore, they move on to the next place. Like I said before, man, you got so many disrespectful people directly out here that do not respect Black Americans. And they just got here. Literally, just got here fresh off the boat. She ain't trying to hear none of that. She don't like I said, her and a lot of them other folks, they don't care nothing about what Black Americans gotta say, have to face, or have to go through, because a lot of them feel that they're better anyway. They feel that they're more educated, they got more money, they feel like they're more established, and yada yada yada. They really make it seem like they were doing some stuff that Black Americans have never done. And I keep trying to tell them, whatever you are doing right now, Black Americans did that thousandfold. And you have Black Americans doing that right after slavery, or even during the point of slavery. So, like I said, it's some crazy work out here, but you can't tell people nothing. You can't tell people nothing. Like I said, you're going to get a face like this every single time you try to speak to these folks, just to let them know, like, yo, you got to sit up there. You got to give respect, because you're going to end up losing. And there's going to be a video to sit up there and prove what I said before, where it deals with like the enemy of my enemy is my friend. And because of all of these folks like her that you see, they are making that become a reality, and people don't even understand it. So we're going to get to that in a minute, but I want to, keep going through these videos real quick. We only got a few more left.
What I just saw on a job application. Because apparently there's levels to Blackness, and they need to know exactly where you're from. Look at this. Look at this. Okay, so as you can see, it says Black African, Black Caribbean, Black European, Black North and South America. Even the Hispanic and Latino, they need to know exactly where you're from.
And that's how it should have been from the get-go. There should have never been an area where there should have been flat Blackness. That's a very dangerous thing, because when things specifically need to be done for Black Americans because of the history that we face, now, everybody can pretty much get something directly out of it, and it's not meant for everybody. This is back when, Trump sat up there and came out and told people, that one of the amendments or whatnot was not specifically meant for the immigrants coming directly over here. It was specifically meant for the children of slaves here in these United States, not for everybody else. And then you had people really shutting up. They wasn't saying nothing. Nobody was trying to get online and be like, oh, but nobody was saying nothing. They shut up real quick, fast, and in a hurry. Nobody was trying to make no theses, no papers. Nobody had their chest poked out. Nobody was trying to show off their ego. People shut up real quick. But like I said, a lot of stuff is taking place, and a lot of those folks only have themselves to blame.
Nigeria?
Yeah, I'm Niger boy, bro.
You're African, bro.
Yeah, I'm African, bro. I'm not denying the fact.
You're not black, bro. You're African.
Being African is being black. Are you
No,
dumb?
it's not.
Bro. On God, there's a difference. Okay, so you're black, yeah? If someone's black, like they carry the culture, the heritage, of all that stuff of a black person, But an African guy, he has different culture, he has different everything.
Facts.
And if you look at when you talk black, I'm thinking like African American, like the black guys you see in the U.S. But then when you say African, I'm thinking of all the Niger boys, all those guys, Ghana and all that stuff. It's very different people.
Ever since my mom gave birth to me, I've never seen anybody as stupid as you. You are beyond stupid. I'm lost of words to describe how stupid you are, bro. You make me lose a brain cell. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I might gotta go to bed after this. Like, I'm done streaming.
And again, you can clearly tell that he's African. Why would you be offended because somebody gave you he should have used the terminology Black American, but I know what it was that he was saying. He was saying that, yo, you are African at the end of the day. You said you are Nigerian, right? You are African, right? Your bloodline is specifically strictly from the continent. You are nowhere close to Black American. So when he tells you that you're not Black, he is telling you that, because a lot of Africans will sit up and say, I'm not Black. I am Nigerian. I'm Kenyan, Zimbabwean, right? The Rwandan, Congolese or South Africa, whatever. They will list specifically where it is that they're from. They're not going to sit up there and say that they're Black. So he's correct. And it's crazy to sit up there and see this dude try to, get some type of like anger or feel some type of way directly about it. He told you the truth. Like I said, everything, how you're dressed right now, you're dressed like a Black American. Africans do not dress like that. Y'all not dressed. Y'all don't have wave caps, dog. Y'all not over there wearing like earrings. What? Excuse me? What are we talking about? Like I said, like the whole like the tees and everything. Like I said, I bet you if he were to stand up, all of his clothes Black America. I promise you. I have yet to see any of these young dudes out here who are African actually represent and dress as an African man. I've yet to sit up there and see it. They always from the UK to Africa to the United States. I always see them dressed as Black Americans, always cosplaying. It's crazy work. That is diabolical in nature. Diabolical. That is diabolical. But let's keep going.
Question for non-Americans. How come only Black Americans owe you an explanation of where they're really from? How come Black Jamaicans don't owe you an explanation of where they're really from? How come Black Brazilians don't owe you an explanation of where they're really from? How come Black Colombians and Black Panamanians and Black anybody else, how come they don't owe you an explanation of where they're really from? How come when people from any other country who are Black tell you, I'm from Panama, I'm from Brazil, I'm from Dominican Republic, wherever it is, how come you take them for what they say when they say it, but when a Black American says, I'm American, you ask them, okay, but where are you really from? Why are you always calling Americans dumb when you don't understand the transatlantic slave trade and you don't understand that all these people came on the same boats, just on different stops? And on top of that, how come a Black American who has been here since, I don't know, the 1500s, how come they have to be from somewhere else in Africa? But if a white American whose grandparents came here in like 1920 from Italy says that they're Italian, you're like, no, you're not Italian. You're American. You're not Italian. How come that Black American can't just be American? Please get back to me.
She did not miss. And it's again, Black Americans are the only ones that have to sit up there and deal with this. The ignorance is astonishing when you got folks out here that just got here and Black Americans are like, hey, I'm American. And they're like, but where are you from? And they're like, I'm from America, born and raised. But no, where you really from? I'm from Detroit, Michigan. It's like, no, but where your parents from? Detroit, Michigan. What about your grandparents? They're from the Carolinas. Where are they from? The Carolinas. But where are they from? Where are their parents? And it's like, it's the craziest thing that you have to have a conversation and try to prove yourself to other people out here that just got here. Like that never made sense. Like I said, like she just said, no other group has to do that. If Italians just got here in the 1900s, they can sit up there and say whatnot or whatever, and automatically they're American. The Scots, automatically American. Other white Europeans, automatically American. Like nobody's asking them to sit up there and prove how American they are. And this is why I keep sitting up here saying, I'm like, all right, fine then, Black American. Tell me I'm different now. Tell me I'm wrong. You can't. I'm Black and American. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. Like I said, Black people are the only ones that always have to go through and try to prove something to every other group directly out here. And Black Americans don't be sitting up there trying to ask other people anything. Like we're not trying to look for other people to prove whatnot or whatever and all this other type of stuff. We don't care. It's like, all right, whatever you said, you this, whatever, cool. It's like, cool. I know you're Dominican, and I know you ain't really from here because I can tell by your accent. But it's cool, whatever it is. You say that you're American, all right, cool, whatever. Just move around. Like this is like I said, it's crazy. It is crazy. But let's continue. Oh, wait, is that the video? Yeah. So this is the coup. Wait, what was it? The coup de grace. So this is the one where I was talking about, where I told people before, where it's the enemy of my enemy is my friend. So let's just take a listen to what is being said during this conversation.
They say white replacement theory.
You're right.
How honest do you want to be? It's black replacement. I mean, I'm just like, I'm from California. Look this up. In 1990, Los Angeles was 10% black. It's now 7% black.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? The city of San Francisco always had a thriving black community. It's gone. Compton in LA was the largest black community west of the Mississippi. It's now Spanish speaking. So the truth is that these waves of immigration really affect I said they affect all poor people. That was a little disingenuous. They don't affect you that much if you live in rural Maine. Mm-hmm. They affect you a ton if you live in Compton. And this idea, and only white liberals, being totally blunt, is the group that I'm maddest at, believe that like everyone who's not white is exactly the same. Like that's insane. I lived in DC. We had a huge influx of Ethiopians and Eritreans. Now I always liked them. They're I don't know if you've ever met any, but they're very impressive people, super hardworking. A lot of them are serious Christians, which is important to me. So I really like the Ethiopians, and I like their food. Holy smokes, guess who didn't like the Ethiopians? DC was 70% black when I was a kid. Native-born Americans, all been here, 400 years, whatever, just Americans. The tension between those two groups was like insane, but nobody ever wanted to say anything about it. And I always felt like, maybe some of the preachers in town or their political leaders should like pipe up on behalf of their voters and their congregants to speak up for them. But nobody ever did.
That's never going to happen.
It's kind of not my fight, but I just watched this happen, and I was like, you're kind of...
That's the thing. I didn't say anybody can come to the cookout. The point that I'm saying is that it gets to the point where everything is, people are able to see exactly what's going on. And it's to the point where it's like, all right, we're going to put some things to the side so that we can just take care of this problem, this situation. And that's what I told people earlier, where all of these situations dealing with a lot of these disrespectful immigrants who want to come here and be disrespectful to Black Americans. And not only that, you're also deciding that you want to be the ultra egregious to white Americans out of all people. Out of all people that immigrants want to sit up there and try to disrespect, and you want to get on the nerves of, you want to do that to the main people who make the laws, the rules, and the regulations, knowing the fact that you're not naturally here, knowing the fact that you immigrated here, or however it is that you got here, knowing the fact that they have the military and everything else behind them, you decide as an immigrant that you want to get disrespectful with them. Oh, you stupid. You real stupid. So, like I said before, this is not me saying that people are coming to the cookout, but this is pointing out the fact that when things get very much so problematic, two people who don't see eye to eye can be like, all right, we're gonna just like move this to the side. We ain't saying it's done. We ain't saying it's over. We're not saying that we're gonna go back to the same thing that we normally do, but we're gonna put a pause on that right now. We're just going to put a pause on that right now. We're going to put a pin directly in that hat, and we want to return back to that point. So, like I said, I tried to tell a lot of people directly out here, especially to a lot of these immigrants. I'm like, yo, you going to sit up there and have something happen that people haven't seen happen in a very long time. You're going to have something happen that really was not supposed to happen. And it is going to be your undoing. Lord have mercy. But like I said, nobody wants to sit up there and listen. I can repeat and say things as much as I want to sit up and say. People don't want to sit up there and listen. And then on top of that, you want to come here and you want to take money and jobs, and you know that you're also affecting white Americans too. And you think that they're gonna let you sit up there, and once they find out about that and how much money that you're getting, you think that they're for 1 second going to sit idly by and allow that to keep happening while their family is starving, while their bills are going above their head and they're sitting up there drowning in debt? Oh boy. Like I said, people gonna learn the hard way. People are going to learn the hard way. Like I said, it's crazy work. It is crazy work out here. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. Barry said it's almost like the government has forgotten that they work for us. That's all the systems. You can look at the military, you can look at the police, you can look at the government. They all forgot. It's not that they forgot, they just skipped directly over it because people just kept giving them money and people just kept voting to allow them to have whatever power that they have. And now what they know, what is the thing that they normally say about power, that absolute power corrupts, or that people get drunk on power? That's pretty much what you're looking at this moment in time. The police are drunk on all types of power. The I feel as though that the police over time, covering a lot of videos, I feel as though that the police have more rights and laws that protect them versus the American people. I really feel as though that the American people don't have as many laws on paper to protect them from a lot of things, versus what the police have. The police got immunity. They can just defend themselves from whatever. An acorn can hit a car and they can just let off 99 rounds, and then they still got their job. No harm, no foul. Because it's a very tough job. Heart be racing, adrenaline rush, and all this other type. Like I said, it's crazy work out here. It's crazy work out here. Devon said the United States government playbook: rich whites use poor whites to oppress everyone else. Yeah. Wade said absolute power corrupts. Absolutely. Yep. Like I said, it's going to look bad for everybody. The only main thing that I set up there and try to get through to a lot of folks is that if you happen to do by Black Americans the right way, everything else will fill out. Whatever happens to us in a positive way is going to also fall positively on every other group directly out here. But people don't want to look at it or see it directly in that way. Because again, like I said before, if Black Americans were able to get reparations, you know that people are going to sit up there and spend money in the United States. They're going to build in the United States. That also means that, let's say if Black Americans get, let's say, $500,000 or something like that. Let's say Black Americans in Detroit get $500,000, right? You'll have a great majority of them buying houses, right? Or land or things like that. You'll have people starting up groceries, right? What I'm saying is that Black Americans will take their money and they will invest it and build specifically where it is that they are. And then they will also go to the extent of, buying different things, like let's say like fashion and all this other, like, American brands and things of that nature. Again, it's pouring money directly into the economy. It's going also locally, and then it's going outside of that as well. So it could be to the state or just in the United States in general. And then also by way of those reparations, you got Black Americans that are building up jobs that are employing other Black folks, which then means, guess what? You now have less crime because nobody has to sit up there and worry about jobs. Less crime means that it's a safer area. Safer area means that it's a higher life expectancy. Higher life expectancy means that people are happier. People are going to want to have more families. People are going to want to sit up there and build, which is going to add more into the community. And it's also going to add more taxes, like people paying directly into taxes and things. Like I said, it has a very positive effect, but for whatever reason, a lot of these folks out here don't want to see that. They don't want to think about it, in that way. And like I said, the way that I look at it is that it's going to benefit 9 times out of 10. Reparations will benefit the United States more than anywhere else in the world because we're going to spend here. Like, because this is home. This is home base. This is the home team. But like I said, you can't tell nobody nothing. You can't tell nobody nothing. Let me see. What else we got? I just saw somebody, and we got another Johnny come lately that said no to reparations. So to Tammy Pierce, right? You have a problem with reparations. This is just an honest conversation, right? So what is your specific issues with reparations? And why do you feel that Black Americans don't deserve reparations? That's what I want to know. Just trying to figure that out. Let me just put a pin on that one. Let me see. Yeah, I'm waiting for that person to still sit up there and reply. Like, it's crazy when I pin somebody's comment directly to the front so that they're notified that, hey, I'm looking for a response specifically from you. People tend not to sit up there and show up. Just trying to figure out. And then somebody said that's not needed. I'm not sure what you're. I'm trying to figure. Let me see. Hold on. Let me see. So for baked, are you talking about that reparations are not needed? Like I said, because I keep seeing like these half like responses there, so it's very hard for me to try to figure out what people are directly referring to. And again, I'm trying to give people a shot at just explaining themselves when it deals with a lot of these responses instead of just overlooking them and just carrying on about the everyday. Um, Wait, so you said okay, at least somebody decided to so critical. So your main thought process, as you stated, is that reparations are a crutch of the ignorant. Is that your most trusted answer for that one? Because I feel like people only say this when it deals with Black Americans. See, the problem is, right? You said that the reparations are only for the slaves and the descendants of slaves, which are less than 1% Black Americans, right? Cool. So within that exact same thing that you stated, right? You said that going back to the first one, you said reparations are a crutch for the ignorant, right? Cool, no problem. So I this is the thing. I'm not even about to sit up there and even roll with that. I don't even know who you are. I'm just gonna be real. A lot of my moderators, I know that they're Black. I know that because I've actually spoken to them, right? Um, you just pulled up to the scene and then you decided to sit up there and say that, yo, I'm Black American. So that's not that what does that mean to me? Like, people have seen my face before. We don't know who you are, so you can just be like some random dude from India using AI and Google Translate in order to listen to the conversation, which is cool. But again, that's not specifically telling me nothing. Right. So cool. No problem. You said reparations are a crutch for the ignorant, right? So with the information directly in front of you, how will we apply those sentiments that you feel about reparations, how do we apply that to the information that we see directly in front of us right now? Because you're not going to call these white people ignorant. You're not going to say that these white people didn't need the reparations, nor did they need a land reversal to happen. You're not going to say that. So I'm just trying to figure out, how do we apply your sentiments from your reply directly to the information in front of us? She said, I was raised to take responsibility for my actions and to be accountable for my deeds. Whoop-de-doo. So is everybody else. You're still not answering the question. You said, I don't live in the past. I'm sorry. I'm accountable for my actions and only the actions that I have committed. Ah, yeah, that's wild. That is wild. I'm sorry. I was taught to be accountable for my. Yeah, you're a bot. Yeah, you just officially proved that you're a bot, because all you're doing is just repeating the exact same thing. Lord have mercy. You're not even saying nothing. Like, like I said, this goes back into what I said before about like ChatGPT, the AI, robots, NBCs, people using Google speech. Like, it's the exact same thing. Like I said, crazy. I live in the here and now. I worry about my future and how I can control my success. Nobody who was alive today deserves reparations. That is ultra white American of you, for you to be a black American. That is very white American of you. Very white American, let me tell you. That is some crazy work right there. Like I said, I love it though. Like I said, you let people talk long enough, you can figure out who it is that they are. You're going to pull up to the scene. Oh yeah, I'm black American. Huh? Huh? That's crazy. That is wild. That is wild. Like I said, I love it. You said anybody ignorant enough to believe that anybody alive today deserves reparations for anything is ignorant, weak, and unwilling to make their own way. I mean, Asian Americans received reparations, but I'm pretty sure you're not going to say nothing about. Like I said, these opinions only arise when people want to specifically speak on Black Americans. And again, that's just my honest look directly on this whole conversation, because nobody is going to sit up there and say that the Jewish folks, the Jewish community, don't deserve reparations. And to my knowledge, I think they're still getting reparations to this day. So like I said, it's crazy. How folks want to sit up there and be like, we're going to ignore whatever other people are doing. But no, you blacks, no, you don't need that. You don't need that. Pull yourselves up by your bootstraps. Pull yourselves up by your bootstraps. That doesn't. So you're Black American, and then you decide to use some lingo that did not even specifically fit. Let me go back to this. Hold on. Let me pick this up. You said, yeah, people that call other people bots obviously have no substance in their argument and choose to live in an echo chamber. Bye, Felicia. You just why if I literally said that you were AI or a bot, why would you then come in and try to use some black lingo? And it didn't even, like, what were you even trying to accomplish? Like that? Come on, you gotta do better than that. It's why we y'all gotta train these AI better, dog. You got nothing but NPCs out. Y'all gotta do better. I don't know who running these scripts out here. Like, y'all gotta really do some better training. You might have to, let them listen to some black talk shows or some podcasts. This ain't it. This is not it. Anybody who is Black American, especially Black American women, they know how to use stuff. You no. Yo, Will Davis. Will Davis said, reparations is a debt that was owed and never paid. We are the descendants here to collect that debt. That is bars. That is bars. What else we got here? Let me see. Let me scroll directly down. Wait, Brandon World said had to throw a little character flair with that by Felicia. Yeah, that just didn't even make any sense. Like what? Nobody even said, yeah, like somebody said in the comment section, like nobody even says that anymore. Like that's how I know that you're not Black American. Like I said, y'all can do all of this copying, all of this cosplaying and whatnot or whatever. But again, you don't have the spirit. You don't got the soul. Y'all can't even use a simple phrase correctly. Like that is diabolical. Lord have mercy. You would have thought as much studying as people sit up there and do that they would at least get that down. Nope. Nope. Not at all. That is wild. That is wild. Shu said this might sound ignorant, but isn't Germany paying the Jewish community reparations? To my let me see. Do. Typo. Let me see. Just gotta look this up myself. See bioethics regarding. Oh, let me see. Typo. Let me just retype. See if I can get the correct answer I'm looking for. Okay, so they said that since 1952, the German government has paid over 90 billion in reparations to Holocaust survivors and the state of Israel for the era of persecution, property theft, and forced labor. Negotiated by the Claims Conference, these funds cover individual pensions, home care, and compensation for survivors. Continue to provide financial aid for their needs into 2026. So yes, you would be correct. Let me just highlight this real quick. So this is what I said before. A lot of other folks directly out here, a lot of other communities are able to still receive forms of reparations directly out here, but it's only problematic when it's talked about when it deals with Black Americans. That's the main time where people want to pull up to the scene and be like, oh no, the Blacks don't need it. This, that, and the third. Or if there are talks about reparations, then people want to be like, okay, well, we're not going to actually give you money, but we'll put it in this fund. And I'm like, no, just give people the money. People should be able to put their hands on the money, something that is tangible, and they should be able to do what it is that they want to sit up there and do directly with it. It makes no sense how you have folks wanting to be like, all right, this could possibly happen, but we're going to put barriers around it on how you can spend. No, because you're not doing that with other folks directly out here. You're letting them, you're giving them the money, and they're able to sit up there and spend it or put it directly towards what it needs to be, put directly towards, or you have it split in a way that is put towards the important things, and then they're able to get a check or whatever it is. Like I said, it's crazy how this works. It is diabolical. Like I said, everybody else can get a form of reparations still to this date, but when it deals with Black Americans, no. Nobody alive today was a slave. None of you today. Matter of fact, you want reparations, but the Blacks sold other Blacks. What about that? Talk about that. Bring that up. Stop making it about race. You guys were the first ones to sit up there and then sell yourselves. And then the main thing I always bring up, I'm like, all right, so if you got people, selling people who are part of their tribes, who told you to come along and to join directly in the party? Why didn't you see your way out of the situation? Why didn't you just throw your hands up and let Jesus take the wheel? Why didn't you just sit up there and do that? Who told you to be like, all right, I'm going to sit up there and barter with you for a couple of bottle caps in the mirror, and let me get this, these 20 here. Nobody told you to do that, but you opted to do it. You wanted to sit up there and do it. So, like I said, it's crazy to me how people want to sit up there and move the goalposts on conversations to try to, take away the fact that they decided to partake where nobody forced them to sit up there and do it. They wanted to be on some, well, in Rome, well in Africa, do what the Africans do. It's some crazy work. It's wild out here. That is crazy. That is diabolical. Wait, what? Sham was like, yo, Seji, I found him. He's not black. He's an African bodybuilder using the troll account. He got like 200 subscribers out here. Like I said, this is why, like I said, yo, it's either he's probably one of those Nigerian princes that used to send those emails back in the 2000s. Like, yo, I am your Nigerian prince, your king. I am your brethren. You didn't know anything about us, but I need to borrow $2,000, and you just have to Western Union the money, and then once you do, it'll make you richer than ever before. We will send you $100 million in return for your gracious deed to the kingdom. Tell you those Nigerian prince scams. That's like I said, they went from email scams to just scamming online in general. It's crazy. That is crazy. Let me see. Billy said we are here to collect. No way he said that. Tippy said, plus, black Americans acknowledge African soldiers. Maybe that's why they are dealing with colonization to this day. Shuberry said, that's more subscribers than I have. Sham said, so no, he wasn't black American. I thought it was strange. He had tacos as a user picture because usually conservatives display the flags or some American stuff. He was just out here trolling. Of course. Of course. Like I said, he sound like the Sham. The craziest part is he sounds just like that kid from the Jubilee Network that one African kid. He was Angolan. And he wanted to he's ultra magic for whatever reason. You got a lot of Africans that are conservative, right? They're just on the Republican side. But that one Angolan kid that was on the Jubilee thing, the table talk, whatever you want to sit up there and call it, he was just trying to go so hard on Black America. I'm like, out of all of the groups that are specifically here in the United States, it's bewildering and wild to me that the main group that they always want to talk about and always have talking points and they magically studied and know these numbers and stats is only Black Americans. They don't know nothing about nobody else. I kid you not. None of these Africans, when they have these talking points about Black Americans, they don't have no type of stats on no other group. And then when you start bringing up stuff and question them, they're like, "Oh well, I'm not too sure. I don't know anything about that. I didn't research that." I bet you didn't. I bet you didn't, because you're not going to be able to use that as a selling point, especially if you're talking about white Americans in a negative way and bringing up stats. Oh yeah, they're going to pack you up real quick. You're not going to be able to make no type of money. Like I said, they be out here playing. They be out here playing. See, Gail, I knew that either you was going to catch it or somebody else was going to catch it. I saw what he said. I saw directly what he said, and I'm like, so that's what you pulled directly, from that part of the conversation. But I'm like, if we're to look historically about who's been technically doing this the most, and doing all this, I'm like, yeah, like I said, I remember what was that TV show that used to come on MTV with all those white girls that was up there, 16 and pregnant, or whatever it was. Teen, oh, that's what it was. Teen Mom. Woo! Let me tell you, I was tuning into that show. I'm like, yo, white folks, y'all really celebrating y'all teenage daughters being pregnant at like 15 and 16? I'm like, that is wild. I'm like, word. I'm like, that's a positive. I'm like, it's crazy. The craziest part is when I would watch the whole thing at Teen Mom, I would always think about how white people would normally sit up there and say that, Black people, we're not really, unified when it deals with parents and stuff like that. But I'm like, a lot of these teen girls, like those dudes are not going to be directly in that girl's life. Like they're not about to get married. They're not about to get engaged. He's not going to stay there and be a father 100%. Like he's going to dip and be with the next thing smoking. Whoever he finds that's more attractive than your daughter, he's going to be with that person and probably more than likely marry them before he gets them pregnant. So it's like it's crazy to me that people would always bring up these stereotypes, but I'm like, you literally had a TV show that y'all celebrated around the United States that was called Teen Mom. Like I said, you can't make this up. You can't sit up there and make this up. You can't make this up. We got another Johnny come lately talking about the reparations. Sham said white college women have the highest rates, and also with teen pregnancies. I'll throw in the highest of being pregnant. Yep, that's true. Yep, that is true. Mm. She said, "Yeah, America paid for some of those reparations too." Sham was like, "He activated my trap cards." Oh, that's crazy. Oh yeah, so the stream must be delayed because I see some of y'all seeing the information directly up there right now. Yep, they almost got like $1 trillion. Well, no, I'm sorry, that's not even close to $1 trillion because you would have to have way more numbers up there. My mistake. But yeah, they got a lot. They almost close to. I feel like they might have more than that. Because maybe if you think about like businesses and stuff like that, so it might actually be more than 90 billion, but it could be well over 100 billion potentially. And like they said, even at the bottom, you look, even still up until 2026, and they said ongoing support as of 2023. Germany continues to fund home care programs and direct payments. So, like I said before, they'll split the money. It'll be half and half. So they'll split the money, right, and put it where it needs to be put, and then the other portion, people will get a check. So, as of 2023, Germany continues to fund home care programs and direct payments with agreements in place to support survivors through at least 2027. So yeah, still people still out here getting reparations. Still getting that money. Shu said, hold up, Germany, I believe you owe me. Sham said German Americans got reparations too. They got put in those camps also, and they got money and huge farmland payouts during World War II. Wild said, imagine if we got reparations, we will be financially cool, just like the Jewish community as well. White folks don't want us to get ahead of them. But and the craziest part is the main thing I said is that it will be beneficial for everybody. It will be 100% beneficial for everybody because the money would go directly back into the community, building up businesses, mom and pop shops. Like I said, things will look very much different in a lot of black communities. But as Will stated, a lot of folks don't want to see that happen. Like I said, we saw what happened, with a lot of our black towns and cities when they were looking nice. People were investing and doing doing a variety of things. They got burned down. They got destroyed, turned to ash. You said, I bet his name is Tunde. I don't even know what that. I guess you might be talking about an African or something like that. I don't know. While David said, I can't get more words right. Indentured servitude. I'm sorry, indentured servants and slavery is not the same. The funniest thing is I've had a lot of white folks over time try to pull up and try to make that comparison, and I'm like, and I'm like, you know what? I'm not even going to debate with these folks. I'm like, let me just get the dictionary real quick. Let me just read this off for them, and then they decide to move the goalpost, and I'm like, see, this is why we can't have conversations. That's why we can't have conversations. Wait, who y'all talking about? Let me go back. Somebody said Benny Hill. I'm trying to at least look for like the image. I'm trying to see what they wrote farther back. I can't really spot nothing, so. And man, Mo said, Carlos, you let the family dog get to stand on the dinner table. That's crazy. That is crazy. Besides servitude, they had a lot of racism, mistreatment too. Never were accounted for it, and are still prejudiced against their own. Right. Tippy said, I'm done arguing with racists. They just don't care. No sympathy, no empathy, just pure evil. It's 2026, and black people still having those issues today. Sham said you would think that the Irish would side with black people, but they didn't. They quickly grabbed that white card and went straight to racism. Yeah. Sitting up here looking at Gail's comment. Oh man. Lord. Straight flames. Gail is just throwing lava all over the place. Oh my goodness. But yeah, how long we been going on this? We went for about a good 3 hours. They're pretty good. Wasn't that bad. Was not that bad. Went through quite a few videos. Funny enough, I thought with the videos that I had that this would have been a live stream, probably about like 30 or 40 minutes. But it got stretched for entertainment purposes due to the fact of the comments directly there. Tippy for the second day made some homemade vanilla ice cream. Congratulations, Tippy. Yo, DC, what is up? Much love, respect, and appreciation. What is going on? I am you, Law. I am no one's. You are all mine. I am the one. Oh, man. Yo, let me tell you. Shu said I did a DNA test and it comes back as all white, not even a hint of something else, but nope, just no. Yo, what is up, Hack? What is up? What is going on? Oh man. But yeah, we did pretty good today. Went over quite a few topics dealing with different situations, dealing with some immigrants, directly there, different types of conversations. Like I said, that whole thing where they're trying to do like a Somalian month in June. Nah, I'm not even with that. I'm dead serious. I am not even with that. I don't care what sacrifices have to be made, but that needs to be stopped. I'm dead serious. I'm dead serious. I am not about that life. Nope. Not at all. Wait, who got banned? I'm lost. DC said, ain't nothing, my man. Keep your foot on their necks. Will do. Brandon World said, dang. Wait, who got hit? Somebody got hit with a Sham was like, my trigger finger is light. Sham was like, if I sneeze, 4 bullets. Oh my goodness. Save the Earth said, I liked and subscribe. Really interesting conversation about something that matters to me and my culture. Well, much love, respect, and appreciation. Happy you're able to stop by and find something of interest. And I've also stated before that any of the videos or the conversations that we have here, you will more than likely find that on some shorter form content. Also, as well, since we are dual streaming at this moment in time, you can also because I'm not sure if you might have subscribed to the original channel or the second coming. But if you are looking for more daily content, you can go to SEIJIHITO, the second coming, and you can see a variety of videos that I've done throughout the years and videos that I also put up daily as well. Shout out to Hack for the $2 dono. Much love, respect, and appreciation. Tippy said, what is the next video? Actually, nothing at this point. Sham said, what? I banned Black Woman is. He made a whole new account. just to be banned. Oh, it'd be like that. Well, if he got banned and he came back just to get banned again, there's nothing we can do about that. Like I said, people want to sit up there and play stupid games for no reason. Shrew said, "Note to self: don't make Sham angry." Yeah, that's true. Like I said, we got people in here that are very quick on the draw. Mistakes can be made sometimes. Like I said, I've made some mistakes quite a few times throughout the years. I'm like, oh, that person was just joking. My bad. Just let me try to figure out how to unban that person. It'd be like this sometimes. You deal with a lot of stuff online. So, and the best way I can put it is that if you've dealt with something for so long, you're automatically on go. So it's like you're not trying to differentiate if people are like friend or foe. It's like if you say something crazy, it's like, all right, you got banned. It's like, it'd be like that. It'd be like that. Sham was like, LOL, my bad. Shrew, what was it? What else we got there? Brady World says Sham's veto power is crazy. Mo said Seji never eat the potluck at that Carlos is cooking. Yeah, I don't do potlucks. Mm-mm. Nah, too many stories. Sham said, especially when we gaming, I'm gonna get you when I made for some reason when I'm mad, my gaming skills get higher. Sham is like, as soon as she gets angry, she starts to power up and reach Mystic. She is evolving beyond. It is over 9,000. That's hilarious. That is hilarious. But yeah, I'm about to sit up there and stop this live stream here. About to let y'all have the rest of y'all day. That's another reason why I like technically do the live streams early so that y'all got the the rest of the day to do what it is that y'all like to sit up there and do. It's currently 1:11 currently at this moment in time. So again, much love, respect, and appreciation. So yeah, go work on your feng shui. Uh, get your energy in order. Order some food from Uber Eats. I wouldn't recommend DoorDash, but get some Uber Eats or something local. Shout out to anybody who may have thrown any bits directly into the live stream that I might not have been able to see on my end. Shout out to any and everybody that pulled up to the scene and donated to the platform. Matter of fact, let me just see some real quick. Also, shout out to the 7,595 that pulled directly up to the scene. Oh, that's who it was. It was DC. Oh no. Hold on, I got you. Wait. I think I might be able to fix that. Hold on. Okay, DC is good. Okay. I think. Wait, let me see. Let me see. I think they would. Wait, Sham, did you unban DC? Let me. Oh, okay, you did. Yeah. So my apologies, DC. It was it was it was a mistake. It was it was a mistake. But yeah, shout out to the 7,594 that pulled up to the scene. I'm trying to see if anybody else has dropped anything down there. Again, shout out to Brandon World for the $4 donos directly to the live stream. Let me swap directly over and check that one real quick and just make sure I got everybody. Also, shout out to any of the members. Who have memberships directly attached to the channel. Shout out to any of the patrons directly out there. Shout out and much love, respect, and appreciation to any and all of the mods that are here every single day, also doing the Lord's work. Much love, respect, and appreciation. On the other side, we have number wise about Jesus. We had about a good 11,100 and 11,177 people that appeared directly into the live stream. Again, of course, a lot of those people are not here, but shout out to those folks that came directly through. So again, shout out to Hack for the $2 dono. Shout out to Mo for the $10 jewels. And yeah, much love, respect, and appreciation to all. And have a great and awesome day. Brandon Worrell said, yes, she banned him when she realized she messed up. Yo, Shauna, what is up? What is up? What is up? I am so sorry that you came in at this moment, Shauna, because the live stream is actually ending. My apologies, but you will be able to watch the replay. And also after replay basically sits, I'll have a video. I should have a video pretty much finished and upload it directly for you guys. So again, much love. Wait, what happened? Brady Boy said, yeah, I'm sorry, dude. I'm broke. I can only get $40. No, it's cool. It's all good. It's all good, man. Like I said, it like 25 cents a day helps out, Seji. But much love, respect, and appreciation. Thank you guys for being here and pulling through. And I will catch you guys in the next video and or live stream. Wait, what did Sham say? Sham said, you gaming today? Yeah, I'll probably play something. I got to figure out what to play. It'll either be something on Xbox or something on Steam or something like that. But yeah, I'll be gaming though. I got to get some food first because I am hungry. But yeah, I'll probably hit y'all up on Xbox or something like that. This man said play Pokemon. Brandon World said I'm on the Xbox now. Okay, I got you. Sham said can't decide. Yeah, I'm too hungry to actually figure out what I even want to play right now. That man's, what do you say? Brady World said that man going to eat some salmon. I wish. I'm probably either about to, have like some spaghetti or, try to figure out something. But yeah, I'll see y'all on the system or something like that. Let me just figure out what I'm about to eat. So, all right. Peace out, y'all. Someone said, play Fears of Phantom. I'll think about it, Tippy. I'll think about it. Peace out.